ahead, show it again. All right, we're going to get started. Mr. McKnight, could you lead us off in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, and our invocation is going to be by Pastor LeBron. Would you like to sit, stand?
Be comfortable. You can sit.
Okay.
In the presence of God, we are sleeping, standing, working, studying. Let's pray. Lovely God, we praise your name and give you thanks. And this evening, thank you for the children that we have today. Bless them and bless our families. Bless men and women that work every day to make a living and guide us through this meeting. In Matthew 21, you teach us, Jesus answered, "Truly I say to you, if you have faith and do not doubt, you will not only do what hath been done, but if you tell this mountain to move, it will happen by faith and prayer." Lord, we are meeting today to conduct matters of business. Guide our hearts and our minds in the spirit of fairness, right thoughts, and right speech. Impart your supreme wisdom upon our activity so that our affairs may reach a successful conclusion. Thanks you for being our source of guidance today. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, so we've got a bunch of different things here, so let's not do the meeting minutes. Pastor LeBron, thank you very much. Tara, I think we have some feedback here. I don't know if we can turn the... Well, Tara's not here. Okay, Mr. Scotty, if you would come up, we're going to... The board can stay here. He's going to discuss... there's a new FEMA program, if you want to do it there. And, oh, Tara's there. She's going to turn that down, I hope.
Just raise that up a little bit. Raise the mic up a little bit.
Sure. Thank you, Mr.
You're going to
Supervisor.
explain, you're from FEMA, Project Hope. If
Project
you just,
Okay. Project Hope provides crisis counseling for New Yorkers affected by Hurricane Sandy. The services are free and confidential. It helps individuals, families, and groups cope after the disaster. The program is staffed by a combination of professional and paraprofessional mental health providers who live in the community. So some of them are affected by themselves by Hurricane Sandy. Project Help helps people coping with the aftermath on an emotional basis. Stress and strong emotions are very natural to occur after something like this, and they take many different forms. Some people will be physically sick, their stomach may not feel good, they may achy, their sleeping habits or their eating habits may be interrupted. Other people more emotional, they may feel fear or anger or just nervousness or anxiety. So these are all things that can develop after something like this. So the crisis counseling we provide helps people to develop strategies to manage their stress, to make decisions, to take action, and cope successfully with this disaster. The services provided by Project Hope, again, are for individuals and for groups. We provide crisis counseling. We also provide public education in forms such as this. We also provide linkage to support services that are available in the community, as well as assessment and referrals to programs that are available to people. It's available in many different languages, English, Spanish. There are about actually 12 different languages that different counselors speak. So people who have a native tongue, or if that's a barrier, we are able to take care of that. Also, the counseling services are non-traditional services. It's not like we sit in an office somewhere. We go out and we interact with people wherever they are. Counselors have gone door to door canvassing in areas along the south and north shores where people are still in homes that are still devastated, quite frankly. So we provide these services where the people are and where they need the services. The principles of the crisis counseling that we do, it's called strength-based program services. So we promote resilience, empowerment, and recovery from the disaster. Everything is anonymous. We don't label people, we don't diagnose, we don't take names and phone numbers and pass it on to any governmental body. It's just there to help people where they are right now. We're outreach oriented, so it's face to face. We get out there and meet people. We can conduct in non-traditional settings, as I mentioned, wherever people are comfortable. And we're designed to strengthen existing community support systems, not to supplant them. The project is funded by FEMA, a grant from the Federal Emergency Management Agency. It is administered by the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, and it is a program of the New York State Office of Mental Health. If you know anyone who is interested in contacting Project Hope, the number is 1-800-LIFE-NET is the number. We're actually having a crisis counseling seminar in this area here on Monday, May 20th, and Monday, June 3rd. It's going to be here at the Riverhead Library. So anyone certainly who would want to come by, and that's from 1:30 to 2:30 on Monday, May 20th, and 7 to 8 p.m. on Monday, June 3rd. But again, if anyone can call that number, 1-800-LIFE-NET, if they have any questions, or certainly don't have to wait until then if they have issues they would like to discuss. Yes. Oh, sure, yes. It's Monday, May 20th from 1:30 to 2:30, and Monday, June 3rd from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Both of them will be here at the Riverhead Library.
Dr. Scotty, I apologize. He is a doctor. You're a podiatrist.
Yes, yes.
Just so that not
Oh,
confused.
okay.
You're doing this as a volunteer, but I didn't use your title. Do you have any of these that you could leave outside for our...
We do. Yes,
Okay.
we do. Yep.
That's wonderful. And
Good.
does anybody have any other questions? All right, well, thank you.
Thank you for your time.
We're going to Harriet and Tara. Do you want to, if you could give Harriet that microphone? Harriet?
Get your batteries for it, so I'm gonna just pull this one off.
All right, Warren, if Harriet stands behind the table here, Warren, those microphones on the table will pick her up, and she can face the camera. And you can face the camera too with your,
Okay. Harriet, right over here. Now, Harriet.
Where?
There's microphones here. See, there's mic one.
She likes older.
Just, you could try mic one,
Give her the microphone.
and you can
yeah,
look at the town board.
it'll pick, Harriet, it'll pick it up. You don't have to hold it.
You don't have to hold it, Harriet.
You don't have to hold it, it will pick it up.
And can somebody, Harriet, sing a few bars so you feel comfortable.
No, let's just see if, can everybody hear me? Well, this is a very pleasant surprise. This is a very pleasant surprise seeing all these beautiful children. And I would have planned different songs if I'd known you were here. But today we have patriotic songs. So let's have patriotic songs for our country. And enjoy the meeting, and thank you for coming. And I hope I'll see you all again. This is my country, land of my birth. This is my country, grandest on earth. I pledge thee my allegiance to honor and to hold, for this is my country to have and to hold, for this is my country to have and to hold. Oh, aren't you nice? Aren't you all nice? One more song. One more quick song for America. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the ocean
Jody has something to say, and stay here for a second.
I do, and the flowers are on the way because this very special lady has a birthday on Thursday. So, where she usually comes and sings happy birthday to us, I think we should all sing happy birthday to Harriet. So, let's sing happy birthday to Harriet. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Harriet. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. Flowers are on the way.
Happy birthday, Harriet.
Thank you.
All right.
Have a good meeting.
Thank you very much.
Don't go anywhere.
Carol is our special guest here. So you kids are you're getting all full treatment here. We've got a special guest that's come in, so if the town board would like to look at our special guest, let's see. Our special guest's name is Cooper. He's a 5-year-old Tennessee Walker Coonhound. He's sweet and loving and would be a great addition to your home. And he's at the Riverhead Animal Shelter, 369-6189. And let's bring in Cooper. Copper. I'm sorry, Copper. Bring Cooper, it's Copper.
Hi, Copper.
Oh,
He's shy.
he's
Shy.
John, don't stand on my way.
Not stand your way.
I don't want to take a picture. Big crowd.
Okay. Thank you, Christian.
Yes, Papa's really good. He's about 5 years old. And we found him running in the woods. He must have been hunting with his pack. And whoever was hunting never came back to look for him.
So he's available. He's a little shy today, boys and girls. So I see some of your parents are in the audience here. So I'm sure they've got the adoption forms right outside for you.
She don't even look.
But she's
So shy.
a little nervous, which is there you go.
Now she's shy.
There you go.
That's okay. That's all right.
Good.
There you go. You're so shy. Yeah, he's a little nervous. So every time we have a town board meeting at 2 o'clock, we invite the animals from our shelter to come down, and hopefully we can find a home for them using our Channel 22. So he's friendly, he's just a little nervous. I'd be nervous too if there were a couple hundred people that came out to see me.
He's big much though once he gets to it.
He doesn't bark.
I was going to say he's shy, so I mean,
You want to pet him?
one at a time. Don't overwhelm them. All right. Well, thank you very much for bringing it down. Really appreciate it, and maybe his future parents will be our here. All right. Thank you. All right. Now, we're only probably going to go back up there. Catherine Quigley. I think that the Pecana Community School would like to come and present something to the town board, and this is my first opportunity to talk to the town board. But they're going to present something, and you're going to ask the town board to match it, which I think we're able to do from our recycling account. And why don't you come up, and we'll have the board come on down.
Okay, and if it's okay that children would like to introduce themselves?
I absolutely can do that.
Yes.
why don't you come up so the microphones pick you up? So if you come stand around here, the children, you can all talk and the microphones, anywhere here you talk, it'll pick you up. Yeah, you don't have to talk into it.
That's a big check.
Okay.
Okay, they'll start by introducing themselves. Owen, do you want to start?
Hi, my name is Owen.
Hi, my name is Jude.
Hi, my name is Elia. Hi, my name is Lily.
Hi, my name is Ronan.
Hi, my name is Abby. Hi, my name is Imogen.
Hi, my name is Riley.
Hi, my name is Emma.
And they have
And I guess you guys did something, you guys are from the Peconic School? And Peconic Community School, and I guess you guys did something. Can you tell the town board what you did and what you'd like us to do?
One day we went for a walk outside our campus and we saw the birds taking garbage out of the open garbage bins. Then the birds dropped the trash into the river and all of the streets. We don't want our streets and our river polluted. So we came up with an idea to raise money for a recycle bin.
And how much money did you raise?
Abby will tell you all about that.
Okay.
So we went door to door on Main Street to raise money for a recycle bin. We raised over $2,000. These are the businesses that donated. We would like to thank them. Diggers, Riverhead Flower Shop, Star Confectionery, Chase Bank, North Fork Environmental Center, Stacy Myers, Pat from Easton Arts, and especially Peconic Bay Medical Center.
And as a lead-in, what would you like to do with that $2,100?
Oh, well, Emma and Riley can tell you all about that.
Recycling is a great idea for Riverhead because less garbage will go into landfills, less trees will be cut down, and we will be able to sell recyclable materials with a buyback program.
After researching different recycle bins, we found a company called Big Valley Solar. These bins are solar powered and they compact the trash. The bins have different slots to sort the recyclables so no one gets confused. When the bin is full, it will send a message to your computer to tell you when to empty it. Therefore, less garbage trucks need to empty the bins and less fuel will be used. We already raised $2,100. Our goal is to raise enough money for this bin. Thank you.
I'd just like to add that their children's teacher, Natalie Sisko, very much wanted to be here. She's been working tirelessly with the children on this project for many months. She is currently in labor at this moment.
Congratulations.
But she's with us in spirit, and she just wanted to emphasize what a difference these children are making and can make in the community, and that we very much hope that it's possible that the town of Riverhead will help us purchase a bin to beautify our community.
Wait, I gotta present the big check.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's a
Under that check.
You guys want to go in front?
That's the
We
picture.
don't have enough hands.
We can go in front if you want.
Some people are smaller, some people are bigger.
You want to sit on the table so they can see you?
Here, let's go right here, guys.
You want to sit on the table? Here,
Here.
here, right here.
Imogen, let go.
How's that? Oh, no, you're going over there. Oh, you're moving. Oh, you're moving. You stand behind it.
There you go.
There you go.
Hey, I can't see.
You guys get around.
There's on the table.
That's okay.
Everybody in there.
Okay.
There you go. Where's the head? Okay. The camera.
I'm always behind everything.
Yay.
job, guys. Very well. All right, you jump off that way, young man. So one of the things they'd like to do, and what we're going to ask the town board to do, we've raised several $5,000, I think,
It's
with
actually more
our
like $13,000.
recycling program. And so you've come up with a big belly system that you'd like us to purchase. And so I think if the board is willing, I think that's a worthy cause, that we will match this $2,100. And that should be enough, we hope, to buy the system. And I will take it one step further. If you guys want to monitor it and take the recyclables and pick it up as a regular project, we'd be happy to have that, if that's what you want to do. I don't know that you want to. Monitor it would be fine. So if that, does that sound like the town board would like to do that?
Absolutely.
All right.
Couldn't think of a better way to use our recycling money than to further our recycling program.
No one said the location of the school, and what they're talking about is that they're located at East End Arts Council building on West Main Street.
East Main Street.
And when they were talking about the river, it's behind their building at our parking lot that the birds are picking it up and depositing the stuff in the river behind Main Street.
Not an image we want.
Right.
So that's what we're here to thank all you students for all you're doing for the town to help it keep it clean. Thank you.
And what do you think of that? Now you raised $4,200.
That's it.
So keep up the good work. Thanks very much. Take that check, you can keep it for.
Thank you so
Enjoy, you're welcome to stay to the board, rest of the board meeting. It may not be that exciting for you though. The exciting part's over.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, take care.
You guys did a great thing.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Did a great thing, guys. Thank you.
Treated to a dog, Harriet Haas.
I still have Andy Ross's phone number at the belly.
Yeah, that's what they were.
I have all of that.
Yeah, give it to Tara because they brought it over. If we can use it. That's it, yep, that's him. I mean, that's them. All right.
Approval next, or are you gonna wait till the...
Oh my God, I better get something.
Yeah, well, I think we have
I was going to order them for you.
more public hearings. Where is my?
Are they from?
Marissa just went out down and I went, okay.
That one's mine.
This is yours? No, it's mine.
No, that's yours. No, I did. I don't know what I did with it. All right, John, could we get a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes of the town board meeting of April 18, 2013, and the special town board meeting of May 2nd, 2013. So moved.
And seconded?
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
The minutes are approved.
Okay, correspondence?
Okay, under correspondence, from the South Jamesport Civic Association, a letter regarding the proposed project, the Village at Jamesport. A letter from Howard Blooper, President and CEO of Suffolk County National Bank, letter of support for the proposed Family Community Life Center project. Phil Kenter from Relay Communications, a letter requesting installation of surveillance cameras in the Griffin Avenue parking lot. Under reports, tax receiver, total tax collection to date as of April 17th, $70,402,529.05. Tax collection to date as of April 24th, $70,792,627.22. Tax collection to date as of May 1st, $71,100,849.69. From the tax receiver, their utility collection report for April, $253,594.57. From the building department, their monthly report for April, $87,102.53. The sewer district submitted their discharge monitoring report for March. And the New York State Comptroller, we have an annual financial report for the year ending December 31st, 2013. Under applications, and these are pending town board approval, for special events, our Chapter 90s, PC Richard and Son, a barbecue tent at their store location on Route 58, May 22nd through May 28th. Riverhead Bid, Classic Cars Cruise Night, that's Thursdays from May through August. Riverhead MTAS, Taste of the East End, this is showcasing local vendors on the Peconic Riverfront. That's changed?
It's not gonna be that, yeah.
Oh,
I mean, it's still gonna be an event, but it's gonna be dancing for the dogs, they're not gonna bring food in.
okay. Well, that's gonna be on June 2nd, but we can modify that. Riverhead Railroad Museum of Long Island, they're having an annual railroad festival at Griffin Avenue, and that is August 24th and 25th. They're also having a wooden toy train play days, and that's in October 12th and 13th. Starfish Junction Productions, North Fork Craft Beer Barbecue and Wine Festival at Martha Clara Vineyards in Jamesport on August 10th. Fireworks permits, 2 from the Riverhead Raceway, 1 for July 6th and 1 for August 24th. And that's it.
My goodness, it's going to be a busy season.
It will be.
Is there any other town board reports?
I would just like to thank everybody that partook in the essay contest. We were able to award 6 gently used, refurbished bicycles and brand new helmets to our award winners of the essay contest that was held throughout the schools for grades 5 through 9. Those bicycles were given out this past Saturday morning at the PAL Bike Rodeo. The kids all participated in the rodeo and were very excited to take on their bicycles. So I just want to thank everybody for participating.
Okay, any other reports? All right, not hearing any other reports. We've got 4 public hearings. The first one is public hearing that's supposed to start at 2:10. It is now 2:27, and I'll open the public hearing. The consideration to hear all interested persons regarding an alleged unsafe and abandoned structure on 79 Phillip Street, Riverhead. Bob, do you want to fill us in on this?
Dan's going to handle it.
Okay,
for us.
Dan,
All right.
you would...
Dan, you want to come here? You want to do it from?
Actually, if I could, it might be easier for Fire Marshal Zitta to sit there.
Okay.
I can sit here, I'll direct accordingly, and then if the board has questions,
They can hear you.
All right, I'll speak as loud as I can. Mr. Supervisor, one moment, if I could just ask the audience, is anyone here on this chapter 54 regarding Gail L. Jones, 79 Phillip Street, that would like to address the town board or examine the witness? Okay, thank you.
What'd you do to your finger?
Surgery, we'll talk about it later.
Do you want Diane to swear in, Mr. Zidek?
Please, thank you.
Yeah, why not? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Okay, do you solemnly swear to tell the whole truth, and nothing but
The whole truth?
the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
And what is your name for the record?
Craig W. Zidek,
And what is your title?
Chief Fire Marshal for the town of Riverhead.
And how long have you worked for the town of Riverhead in that capacity?
As Chief Fire Marshal, just over a year. As a Fire Marshal in general, about 7 years.
And what is the nature of your training regarding your duties and responsibilities?
We are New York State certified code enforcement officials. We are also trained in fire investigation and a number of other areas as well.
And are you also trained, and do you have qualification concerning the structural integrity of buildings?
Yes, that would be part of the New York State code enforcement training.
And are you familiar with the physical location known as 79 Phillip Street in the town of Riverhead?
I am.
How are you familiar with that location?
I was summoned there by the Riverhead Fire Department during a structure fire to do the cause and origin.
And what was the date of that incident?
That was December 19th, 2012.
And upon arriving at the scene, what, if anything, did you observe?
There was a one-story, single-family dwelling in a residential area that had fire in the basement extending into the upper portions of the building.
And are you aware of a corresponding tax map number concerning that particular address of 79 Phillip Street?
I am.
And for the record, what do you know that to be?
Just check my records.
Please do.
Suffolk County tax map number is 600-106-1-21.
And how is it that you confirm that that particular number is related to the address known as 79 Phillip Street?
I confirmed that through the Riverhead GIS system as well as the official Suffolk County tax map book.
Now, you indicated earlier in your testimony that you were on scene regarding a fire at that location. Is
That's
that correct?
correct.
Did there come a time when the fire was extinguished and that you had cause to physically inspect the premises after the fire had been extinguished?
Yes.
And what, if anything, did you observe at that time?
The building, following fire suppression, had broken windows. The doors were broken. There were holes cut in the floor, as well as the roof and walls, as well as there was a considerable amount of damage to the ceiling and the floors due to the fire in the basement.
And did you make a determination as to the condition of that structure regarding its safety?
Yes, that was determined as an unsafe structure because at that time it was open to anyone being able to gain entry to the building, and getting injured or having, cut on glass and so forth.
And that was based on the physical nature of the structure after the fire?
Correct.
And did you have occasion, after those observations, to meet with the property owner?
I did.
And when was that?
Following the fire, I met with her to let her know that there had been a fire at 79 Phillips Avenue, and to advise her that also the building needed to be boarded up and secured.
Okay, it's actually Phillips Street, correct? 79 Phillips Street?
79 Phillips Street, yes. I'm sorry.
And who do you know the owner to be?
The owner is Gail L. Jones.
And how did you confirm that Gail L. Jones actually owned the premises known as 79 Phillips Street in Riverhead?
She admitted to me that she was the property owner.
Okay. And what, if any, identification did she show you at that particular time?
She showed me her driver's license.
And was there a photo affixed to that driver's license?
There was.
And did the photo and the driver's license match the physical description of the individual you were observing at that particular time?
It did.
And you knew them to be one and same Gail L. Jones, for the record, is that correct?
That is correct.
Did you have a further conversation with Ms. Jones regarding this particular incident?
I did.
Okay, and with regard to ownership of the property in question, did she speak to you about that particular issue?
She did say that she was the owner of the property, and her son had been living there.
Okay. And did you in fact inquire as to her intention to remediate the structure concerning the unsafe structure and condition that you referred to earlier?
She advised me that the building was the house was in foreclosure. She was not certain if she still had insurance on the building, and she was going to contact the bank and see where things stood.
And Marshal Zidek, did you in fact also serve a written notice to her regarding a demand that she remediate the premises and render the structure safe? Okay. You're being shown what has been previously marked for identification as Exhibit Number 1. I'd ask that you take a look at that document and tell me if you in fact recognize it.
Yes.
And what do you know that to be?
This is a copy of the letter that I served to her, notifying her that it was an unsafe and unsecured structure at 79 Phillips Street.
And you personally served that upon her, is that correct?
I did.
Okay, thank you.
Can I see that? Thank you.
Mr. Supervisor, I'd ask that that document be admitted to evidence as Exhibit Number 1, Town Exhibit 1.
That's fine. Admitted.
Thank you.
There's nobody to object.
Okay, subsequent to the conversation with Ms. Jones, did you have occasion to contact any parties concerning remediation of the property?
I did speak with the adjuster that came out from the bank to look at the property, and he also was going to check to see if there was insurance and where exactly the property stood in the foreclosure process.
And what, if anything, came about with regard to that particular conversation?
There was a company that did come out and did board up the house, with the exception of one area in the rear of the house.
Okay, and for the record, they actually did board all of the doors entering the facility as well as the windows, is that correct?
They boarded the doors, they put padlocks, they boarded the windows and the openings, and they put padlocks on the front and rear door.
But there was a remaining issue, correct, concerning a rear wall area?
There was a rear area of the house where the fire department had to remove, excuse me, the sheathing from the building in order to ensure that the fire had not extended and was in fact out. And all that remains now preventing someone from getting in would be the sheetrock on the interior of the building.
So, Marshal Zidek, in your professional opinion, is it possible for someone to access that house by going through that rear door, rear wall area of that house.
Yes, it is.
Okay. You're being shown what has been previously marked for identification as Town Exhibit number 2. Can you take a look at that, please?
Yes.
And what do you know that to be?
This is a photo of the rear of the house as it still was currently this morning, showing the rear door boarded up, the Bilco door also boarded up, and however, the access where the sheathing has been removed, and someone can still gain entry to that.
And who took that photo, Marshal?
I did.
And when was that photo taken?
Allow me to check my notes.
If that would refresh your recollection, yes, please.
It was taken on April 22nd, 2013.
And does the photo that you have in your hand now fairly and accurately represent and depict the scene in question as you observed it on the date you just indicated?
Yes.
And with regard to the area concerning access in the rear portion of the house, is that depicted in the photo as well?
Yes.
I'd ask that this be marked and accepted as an exhibit, as exhibit number 2 for the town, please. If I could kindly, if you could hand it up to the supervisor so they can peruse that photo, that'd be great.
That's fine. Enter that as Exhibit 2.
Yes, please. Marshal Zidek, did you have occasion to determine if in fact a demolition permit has been issued for this particular structure?
I inquired, and as of this morning, there still was no demolition permit issued.
Now, subsequent to your conversation with Ms. Jones, did you have, again, occasion to visit with her concerning today's hearing date?
I did.
And when was that?
If you allow me to check my notes.
Please do.
I served her notice of hearing on April 10th, 2013 at 8:18 in the morning.
And where did you serve that particular
I
notice?
served it at her place of residence.
Okay, and again, it was the same individual you now know as Gail L. Jones from the first incident, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. I'm showing has been previously marked for identification as Town Exhibit number 3. Do you recognize that document?
Yes, this is the copy of the notice of hearing that I served to Ms. Jones.
Is that specifically the notice of hearing referencing today's date, May
That
7th,
would be correct.
2013?
Yes.
Okay. And you handled that to her
I did.
directly, is that correct?
Thank you.
Thank you. I'd ask that be admitted as an exhibit, please. Marshal Zidek, in your professional opinion, with respect to the present condition of the property, and you indicated you went out today to take a look at it again.
I was out there at, this morning at 7:44 a.m. It was still, the rear of the building, where the sheetrock is still unsecured.
Okay, and does it still allow access to the rear portion of the house with full access, of course, inside?
Yes,
Okay, and in your opinion, is that an unsafe condition that
Yes.
poses a threat to the public?
it does.
What is your recommendation at this time, in your professional opinion, to the town board?
That the mediation should finish securing the house, and any costs and charges be referred back to the property.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions of Marshal Zidek. I do have a couple of questions for Ms. Wilhelm, though, and when we get to that portion. So I just want to know if any of the board members have questions of me or Ms. Zidek.
Can I have a
Mr.
question?
Zidek.
Who cleans up the garbage, the food, and everything else that's laying on the property? Because that will attract rodents and other animals to that property. Is that also included in this hearing?
Councilman Dunleavy, you've raised a question I was going to address when we got to the end of the hearing, but I'll address it now. I've had conversations today with Safeguard Properties, which is a property preservation company hired by Bank of America to maintain this property. They're a company out of Texas, and I spoke with and communicated with a manager for that company. They've informed me, and they've requested an opportunity to speak with their client, the bank, for an expedited order to remediate the property, as we've just addressed with Marshal Zidek. What I've informed them of is that obviously we have the hearing today. And what I'm going to do is, and I told them this, I would petition the town board to hold in abeyance any decision regarding this hearing pending a response from the preservation company as to an expedited order to remediate not only the rear portion of the house, but to remove all litter and debris from the premises completely. They've assured me in writing that they will seek permission from the bank to do that, and they will expedite removal of the property's debris as well as remediation of that rear door area. So that's where we stand at this particular point as of 11:30 this morning.
Thank you.
Is there a statute that gives us a certain amount of time before we have to act on whether or not we should condemn this property?
Nope. Basically, I'm waiting. I've given them 5 business days to respond, at which point I will report back to you as to their intentions and/or remediation of the property, in which case then you can render a decision after you've heard all the evidence in the hearing through the end of the hearing today.
You're not asking us to tear the property down or condemn it, you're just asking us to board it up and secure the back wall?
That's correct.
Okay. Does anybody else wish to be heard? Anybody from the audience wish to address this witness? Not seeing anybody.
I would like to amend this to, that we clean the yard up for these. There's food out there. I guess when they took everything out of the cabinets and stuff, it's all laying in the backyard. So I think that should be cleaned up.
That might be a chapter 96 resolution that we have to.
That is correct. And let me address that, Councilman.
Go ahead.
It's absolutely true. We would have to then go forward with a separate 96 to give the property owner the opportunity to address that condition. The reason why the 96 was not included in the 54 is we were unaware of the debris which has been it's been pulled out of that house from the date of the fire forward in the back area, which we didn't have access to. And so that's why the 96 was not included in the 54. We were simply unaware of what's been going on there, but now certainly it's become an issue. So I would move forth with that 96 if we're not notified in 5 business days that they're going to remove the debris.
Okay, thank you.
Please do.
You're welcome.
Please continue.
Thank you. Ms. Wilhelm, question for you?
Sure.
As the town clerk,
Do you want me to swear in?
that would be appropriate. Thank you.
Do you swear to tell the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Ms. Wilhelm, as the custodian of records for the town of Riverhead, is it within the normal course of business of the town of Riverhead to maintain records concerning public notices of hearings?
Yes.
And with respect to these notices, is the News Review the official newspaper for the town of Riverhead regarding public notification of hearings?
Yes, it is.
And is it within the normal course of business for the town of Riverhead to maintain what are known as affidavits of publication concerning actual notices of hearings such as the one today in the News Review?
Yes.
And do you maintain such records within the town clerk's office pursuant to your normal duties and responsibilities?
Yes, I do.
I'm showing as we previously marked for identification as exhibit number 4 for the town. Do you recognize that document?
Yes, I do.
What do you recognize it to be?
It's an affidavit received to my office from the Riverhead News Review for publication, for a public hearing for this Chapter 54.
And Exhibit 4, did you have an opportunity to compare Exhibit 4, which is a photocopy, with the original affidavit?
Yes, I did compare.
And are they one and the same?
They are one and the same.
And these particular documents, and in this particular case, is maintaining your office as a normal business record, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And for the record, that document indicates a hearing notice date of May 7th, 2013, regarding the Chapter 54 at 79 Phillips Street, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
I'd ask that this document marked as Exhibit 4 be formally admitted into evidence as well.
That's fine.
Okay. Thank you. I have no further questions of either witness. Again, if anyone in the public would like to examine the witnesses or the board, this is their
Anybody on
opportunity.
the public wish to examine the witnesses? Okay, I'll close the hearing, and we will hold the decision in abeyance until the next town board meeting.
Yes, but I'll notify you within 5 business days of the response from the Property Preservation Company.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Mr. McCormick, Fire Marshal Zidek, Ms. Wilhelm. We couldn't have done better if it was People's Court. All right, now that was exciting. Let's move on to a public hearing that is supposed to be held at 2:15. It is now 2:45, and we're going to open up the public hearing as known as the consideration of proposed local law to amend Chapter 106, the Riverhead Town Code, entitled Waterways. Bob, do you want to just give a synopsis of
Just
this?
a quick overview. From what I understand, a while back, considering our ordinance, the CAC, Conservation Advisory Council, recommended that we should consider adopting regulations with regard to floating homes, house barges, houseboats. It bounced around a little bit, to say the least, and it was brought to the board's attention, and we ultimately put the legislation together, which is the piece that's before us for public hearing. It's to add additional language, additional article to Chapter 106, our waterways ordinance, which will in fact regulate the establishment or the location of these type of vessels or these type of homes in the town waters. And I know there's individuals who are here to address the board, so I will leave it at that at this time.
All right, and I just want to point out that the people have 120 days of the effective date of this chapter to apply for this application. If the home is sold within 120 days of the sale, you have to apply for another permit. And I want to be on record as the intent of the town board that if you didn't apply for this within 120 days, that you're not going to get the benefit of this statute. The other thing is that if one of these structures is damaged by more than 50%, permit will not be restored, and the barge has to be removed, if I'm understanding this correctly. All right, so I want to be on record that that is the intent of the board. You have 120 days to apply. If it's damaged more than 50%, then the structure has to be removed. Does anybody wish to be heard on this matter? Please step up to the podium and state your name and affiliation or address for the record.
My name is Brian DeLuca, and I'm the executive director of the Treasure Cove Resort Marina, where we have a couple of house barges. Just a quick question is, where is this application available?
We haven't adopted it yet, so it's not available.
Okay.
But
The fees will be established and the application will be submitted upon adoption of the legislation.
So they have 120 days after the form is created, the
Correct.
application form. Okay.
And I'm thinking it's going to be the town clerk, but I don't see that it's spelled out in here. Is that where the doc permits and?
No.
Or is it the planning board? We'll get that squared away. I'm not sure I'm not sure where the application.
That's okay.
is
And that's an
gonna go.
annual application too they need to fill out?
It's an annual inspection.
Annual inspection, but one application.
All right.
Well,
It'll be renewable, right?
yes.
Thank you.
Does anybody else wish to be heard on the matter? Yes, sir. If you could state your name and affiliation for the record, or name and address for the record. You don't have to just the physical. You don't need to give the street address. Just your hamlet would be fine.
I'm Glenn Sherman. I live in Riverhead. I spend most of my time on a boat at a marina that also has house barges, and I've followed the liveaboard issue for many years. I worked in Seattle, where floating homes are accepted, and have related knowledge covering many other states. The Coast Guard regulates marine sanitation for all vessels, and the Peconics are a no-discharge zone. There is no need for a new sanitation ordinance, which is included here, but there is a need for inspections, not of floating homes, but of all boats within the Peconics. In the 10 years I've been here, I've never seen any boat of any kind inspected for a properly configured marine sanitation device. For floating homes, overboard discharge would be like any of you dumping waste in your own backyard. And although legislators look to boaters when bacteria levels increase, in recent history most problems have been traced back to malfunctioning municipal treatment plants. As for gray water, according to the Peconic Baykeeper, stormwater runoff is listed as the single greatest threat to water quality in the nation. fertilizer and pesticides from lawns, as well as petroleum products and chemicals from roadway runoff are orders of magnitude more dangerous than marine gray water. Trash. Boaters understand the importance of keeping trash contained far more than the general public. I personally constantly remove trash from the waterways, and most of it seems to come from onshore sources. As far as building codes go, overall size limits may be appropriate for this legislation, but more specific building codes can be a little complex and the subject should be treated separately. This legislation is designed to make floating homes slowly disappear from Riverhead. A better approach used by some municipalities, actually many municipalities, allows floating homes with a maximum density based on the number of marina slips. Ordinary marina customers are absent most of the time, so a small percentage of dock residents can be a security advantage for both the marina and the boat owners, just like village downtowns where apartments above stores keep the area from being deserted after business hours. I would suggest a 10% rule to keep the number of floating homes low and still get the benefit of watchful eyes. A recent Patch article said barge residents don't pay taxes. Using this logic, neither do apartment dwellers. Apartment and barge residents don't own property, but building and marina owners do, passing the charges along to the tenants who pay indirectly. If the town double dips by sending tax bills to both marina and barge owners, you should also send tax bills to both landlords and tenants on land. One of my floating home neighbors is a local business owner and another a hospital caregiver. There are always exceptions, but these people are not freeloaders. It's not cheap, and most are involved in their community, concerned about the environment, and certainly quicker to notice waterway issues than their land-based neighbors. Long Island's recently retired U.S. Congressman Gary Ackerman lived on a houseboat when he was in Washington, D.C., and the IRS recognizes boats and floating homes as residences, allowing mortgage tax interest deductions. So the town can make practical limitations on the density of these vessels, but value judgments disguised as legislation to slowly eliminate them is not appropriate. I can go on for hours, but I can offer a lot more input than you certainly have time for here.
Do you want to make that submission, that transcript of what you're reading from? Would you like to make that a submission to the
Yes, I
town
can
clerk?
submit this. I have an extra copy that I can give you.
Okay.
So any of the members who want to discuss this further with me, I'm certainly available anytime, and I'll provide contact information.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does anybody else wish to be heard on the record?
My name is Michael Mahan. I'm a resident of Riverhead. I reside at a houseboat at the same marina as Mr. Glenn. I believe that the legislation calls for the houseboat to be regulated by the New York State New York State home building code. Is that correct?
Yes.
I would protest that vehemently because my houseboat is not a home as built in the same way as homes are built in New York City. It is a vessel. It is a barge. It does not have a concrete foundation. The stairs in a houseboat do not have the same pitch, which is regulated by a normal home. My houseboat is not grounded electrically in the same way as a normal home. And on and on and on is built as a different thing, different entity. It cannot be by subordinating it to that type of legislation, you will immediately outlaw all houseboats. I would also like to say the same thing as Glenn said, that we in the marina do not have, it is a very clean marina. When every Sunday and weekends comes by, we see a lot of oil, a lot of debris in the water from the weekend boaters, which you do not see during the week. And I would also like to say that the houseboats provide an environment for marine life. The houseboat next to mine has a family of muskrats that live there and have lived there for more than 10 years.
In the houseboat?
Underneath the houseboat,
Okay.
they have carved out, because it's a foam bottom, they have carved out a dwelling, and you can sit there almost any day in the week, especially during the mating season, to see the muskrats come back and forth where they maintain their residence.
Let's explore. This is under your houseboat or
No, my neighbors.
Isn't that noisy for your neighbor?
No, it's not. It's the
It's like having mice in your attic, isn't it?
our houseboat provides food for all the ducks and the geese that live in the river because the algae that lives around it. Anyways, my main protest is that the building code for residents cannot be applied to the building code of houseboats.
I think you're 100% correct, so we may have to look at that. I think our intention here is really to regulate the gray water, which I do not believe you should be dumping into the Peconic River. We have to, they're not legal necessarily at all in the town. This provides a path for them to be legal, but then severely restricts them. So,
If
but
they've
the
been
building
there-
code is absolutely 100% correct. We can't regulate to that code.
I believe they've been there for more than 40 years. Possibly some of you people were still in high school when they were installed.
Possibly.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Does anybody else wish to be heard on this subject? Not seeing anybody, I will hold the public, close the public
Can I
comment.
say something?
Yes.
I think there's a print in 5A on the second page. It has, if it's damaged more than 50%, all the permits will be removed, and then it has where more than 50% of the fair market value remains, any existing use having a permit may be restored. I think that is less instead of more.
No, it's correct, because
Huh?
where it's saying, what it's saying in the reverse is that if the damage is less than 50%, in other words, there's a residual value that's greater than 50, then you can restore it. So.
Anne Marie has a way of making things.
So it's correct.
Easy to read if it says less than the way that Anne Marie has written it here.
Yeah, there's an easier
Huh?
way. There's an easier way to write this.
It's an easier way too, so
We're probably
the common person can read it and understand it.
And just to clarify, it's an application to the CAC. I
It's a
think we had a
CAC.
question on that, and it does require that the permit be renewed every year, so it would be an annual renewal, just to clarify. All right, the way it's proposed right now.
Okay. Yes, you may. I didn't close it, so. You state your name and.
My name is Mark Benowitz, and I am a house barge owner.
I went to high school with a Mark Benowitz, but it wasn't you.
I wasn't planning to speak, so forgive me. I have a house barge, which I love. I love Riverhead. I come here as much as I can, but I don't live on my house barge. I use my boat probably less than a lot of my neighbors that are in Marina. So what you're doing, you're saying is that because I have a house barge and someone else has a boat, that I should be treated differently than they should be treated. I don't live on my boat full time. So as far as I understand this to be, this is selective enforcement, which I don't believe is legal.
No, what we're trying to do is your boat doesn't move, and so there has to be a way. This came to us because I believe the county is requiring that the gray water not be pumped into the river anymore, and there's no legal mechanism for you to really have these house barges in the town because they're somewhere between I'm not going to say a hybrid of a boat. They're not a boat, they're a barge. They don't have a motor, they don't move, so it stands to reason that the gray water is being dumped someplace, and chances are it's a river. So we want to make sure you're hooked up to a holding tank or hooked up to a septic system or hooked up to something to collect that gray water. And in order for that to happen and to us to issue permits, we've got to make it legal. And in order for somebody to allow these in the marina and make an investment to hook these things up, we have to make them legal, but we don't want them multiplying all over the place.
Okay, I accept that, but what I'm trying to say is that my neighbor who has a regular boat is there more than I am on his boat and does as much as whatever I do on a regular boat.
But they can take that boat to the pump out station and pump it out.
I actually don't use my facilities, but I have a pump out where it can be pumped out.
And all your gray water, you have a gray water holding
Not for
tank?
gray water.
Then that's the issue.
Well, the boats don't have for the gray water either.
That's the issue for the house barges because of Suffolk County, and I'm not sure that all boats don't have gray water holding tanks.
This whole legislation was initiated by the Treasure Cove Marina coming in and saying that the health department is requiring that we either hook up to sewers, or we have a holding tank, or we have some enforcement of the gray water and the sanitary discharge. That's what initiated this legislation is, what do we do? What's the town gonna require of us? Is it worth it for us to spend all this money to hook up to the sewer if the town is gonna do away with house barges altogether? So that's why we're looking at this legislation to not only protect the houseboat owners, to make sure that your investment in satisfying the health department is not going to waste, but to also move forward in the future as far as houseboats and any type of new houseboats moving in. We understand you've been here and we respect that and we're happy to have you, but there's got to be something on the books.
Which the Coast Guard already has.
Yes, but that's not satisfying the health department. All right, thank you. Does anybody else wish to be heard? For the comment was the Coast Guard has regulations, and we acknowledge that. All right, I'm going to leave this open for written comment until, for 10 days until the 17th, May 17th. We'll close the public comment portion and leave it for open written comment to the May 17th. I have a feeling we're going to be going back to the drawing board with some of this. Thank you for coming out. Okay, the next public hearing being scheduled for 2:20. 2:20 having arrived, and it now being 3:01, I hereby open up the public hearing. This is a consideration of a proposed local law to amend Chapter 108 of the Riverhead Town Code entitled Zoning, Multifamily Residential Professional Offices, Landscaping, and Buffering. And Jody, do you want to present this, or Bob?
I can make some comments. As a result of the recent work that was done by this board and our consultants with respect to the Route 25A Wading River Corridor study and the change to add more multifamily residential professional office zone legislation, zoning on certain properties. There was a request that we investigate and add some specific language with respect to front yard screening, buffering, and landscaping for those particular properties. So this legislation is amending 108, 171 to add two new provisions which deal specifically with front yard landscape buffer plan for that zoning district, which requires a minimum 35-foot front yard landscape buffer. In addition, we're asking that any landscaping be staggered and with sufficient height to fully diffuse and screen development from the street on a year-round basis. And that's the reason why we're here today. Thank you.
Does anybody wish to be heard on the matter? Mr. Bell.
Good afternoon. Sid Bale, President of the Wading River Civic Association. I'm here to make some comments and suggestions about the amendment. As you know, we advocated that the changes in landscaping, screening, and buffering in the MRP zone would preserve the rural character better than the previous BCR zoning. Looking at the changes that are made, I think we had recommended a 50-foot buffer, and I think the code committee changed that to 35. And we can live with that. And I noticed a couple of weeks ago at a work session, the supervisor was concerned that the buffer, the 35-foot buffer, might reduce the yield. And we were assured, or you were assured that wasn't the case. Right. And that wasn't our intention, so that's fine. Also, mention of fences and being behind the required vegetation, deciduous and evergreens is a good idea. As you know, being a Wading River resident, when there is one fence before one of the condos, and it's not aged well like some of us.
I'm not so sure that I've aged that well, but thank you.
Right, but
the board thanks you.
Right. So I think we go well with that as well. The big concern I have is that nothing is recommended for professional offices in terms of buffering, screening, and landscaping. Again, driving in this afternoon and passing the professional office parcels along 25A. I'm not an architect, and everyone has a different idea of what is really attractive or what is really beautiful. But I think you could make the case that they aren't tremendously appealing and tremendously attractive. Another thing, with a professional office, I think you could make the case you don't quite need the same visibility. You're not as concerned about catching the through traffic as you would be with, say, a retail facility, et cetera. It can be more muted. And there are examples in different parts of this town where you have professional offices that, you pass by and there's a directory sign and that's pretty much it. And it doesn't kind of assault you, jump out at you. And so I respectfully suggest that you take a look at making some sort of buffering standards for the professional offices as well. Either the same as for the residential or similar. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Ms. Hartnagel.
Good afternoon. My name is Jen Hartnagel, and I'm speaking on behalf of the group for the East End. We're here to also support these amendments, and thank you to Councilwoman Giglio for working on this and bringing this to the public hearing portion. Throughout the course of the Wading River study process, it was very clear to us that the community wanted to preserve the character of the area, and hopefully you got that feeling as well, and these amendments really achieve that. We also support what Sid had just suggested, which is to apply these amendments to the professional office space as well, if that's possible. Several other Long Island towns, including your neighbor Brookhaven, have very similar standards for various residential and commercial districts. Additionally, these amendments were discussed as part of the comp plan update, and two particular bullets that were adopted as part of the amended comp plan. I'm going to quote from the comp plan. Require development to meet additional design and landscaping standards for new commercial sites and buildings. And the second one was to retain and enhance landscaped or natural buffer areas along Route 25A. So obviously these amendments are consistent with these goals that were adopted in the plan. So again, we support it, and if you can make the changes to have this applied to the office space as well, that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Does anybody else wish to be heard on this matter? Not seeing anybody, I'll close the public comment portion, leave it open for written comments until May 17th, 4:30 in the town clerk's office. And finally, we have one final public hearing, and that is was scheduled for 2:25. It is now 3:08. We open up the public hearing for a consideration of a special use permit application of Atlantis Management Group, Atlantis Smart, to expand a gas station at 1356 Old Country Road, Route 58. And we have some folks here from the applicant. So if you'd state your name and affiliation for the record, that would be wonderful.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor, members of the Town Board. Keith Brown, Brown & Altman LLP, 510 Broad Hollow Road, Suite 110, Millville, New York, 11747.
And you're an attorney?
I am, sir. I am here today with respect to Atlantis Management Group's application for a special use permit in connection with its expansion and renovation of the existing gasoline service station to include an accessory convenience store with a small Dunkin' Donuts coffee shop located at 1356 Old Country Road, Riverhead, New York. The site has been operating as a gas station since circa 1940. The Town Zoning Board of Appeals approved variance relief for the canopy and ground sign by appeal number 96-30 on April 11th of 1996. There are also certificates of occupancy for a gasoline service station with an accessory canopy that was issued by the town, numbered 13599 and 15608, dated June 23rd, 1997, and January 17th, 2001, respectively.
Do you have copies of that, or do you want us to make a copy of the
No,
files?
I actually have a package of materials which I'd like to submit
For the record, thank you.
In a moment, thank you. In addition, all required variances in conjunction with the application were recently granted by the Town Zoning Board of Appeals on March 14th of 2013. As a matter of housekeeping, the mailing of required compliance notices and the required postings were completed in accordance with the town code, and the original affidavits of mailing and posting were submitted to the town clerk's office on May 2nd of 2013. At this time, I'd like to submit those as well as the other exhibits that we plan on using.
Thank you, sir.
The instant special use permit application is necessary to permit the expansion of the existing gasoline service station use to allow the applicant to operate the accessory convenience store and Dunkin' Donuts at the property pursuant to Town Code Article 8, Section 108-51A. The instant special permit to expand the use is necessitated by changes in the gas station business model that have occurred over the past several years. These changes have resulted in convenience stores becoming an essential accessory component to gasoline service stations. This is particularly so given that the profit margin on retail sale of gasoline is nominal. Gas station retailers are getting squeezed by oil companies and only make about a half a cent per gallon as profit, and that number only gets increased after they pump more than 1 million gallons of fuel. Gas station owners can no longer find repairmen to rent out service bays, and cars are lasting longer and in less need of repair. In addition, automobile repair work is now done more routinely by dealerships, and the cost of diagnostic and repair equipment to service and inspect vehicles is substantial. In addition, the County Health Department, as you're aware, has required as of 2010 the replacement of all single-wall storage tanks with double-wall storage tanks, compelling station operators to incur approximately $300,000 in costs or more. Finally, and part of the packet that I submitted to you, there are articles recently in the Long Island Business News and Newsday which document the recent depletion of gas stations throughout Long Island. Since 2010, the Long Island Gas Station Retailers Association reports a 10% reduction of gas retailers throughout the island. All of these issues have dramatically changed the gas station retail business model and caused station owners to either close their doors or convert the service bays to convenience stores. Now, with respect to the improvements that we plan to make to the property, the special permit is further requested in order to renovate and improve the property in a manner that will improve the functionality and appearance and will be a marked improvement over the existing property condition. The proposed renovations include installing state-of-the-art fuel pumps and fully renovated building. We'll also provide a significant upgrade in services from the current condition. The proposed improvements include the following: a newly renovated building and canopy, 2 new fueling positions for customer convenience, new parking, curbing, drainage, and landscaping. Approximately 25% of the property will be landscaped under the current proposal. New curb cuts along Osborne Avenue and Old Country Road, code-compliant parking with ADA-compliant parking stalls, and a new loading area, trash enclosure, and energy-efficient lighting. Now, with me today to present testimony in further support of the application are Mr. Chris Tartaglia to my immediate right, the project engineer. Chris is a licensed New York State civil engineer and is here to explain the site layout design and essentially what the site will look like post-construction. We also have with us today Mr. Chuck Olivo, a New York State licensed civil engineer and traffic safety expert. Mr. Olivo has examined the potential traffic impact of the proposed gasoline service station and the convenience store and is here to testify as to his findings. And finally, Mr. Jose Montero of Atlantis Management Group, who is here to field any questions about operations of the station. And with your permission, Mr. Tartaglia and Mr. Olivo are prepared to answer any questions by the board you may have. Unless you'd like to dispense with that, I leave it to you, Mr. Supervisor.
No, I'd like to see the layout, if you would, Mr. Brown. Bob, are we swearing in special permit?
Yep. Yes, we are. I'm sorry.
I mean, I can tell you, I know that service stations are convenience stations now. I'm more concerned about the traffic flow. I can't wait to get to that.
Yes. You swear that the testimony you're about to give is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
State
For the
your name
record?
and, for the record.
Yes, thank you. My name is Chris Tartaglia, principal owner of the firm High Point Engineering, located at 521 Conklin Street, Farmingdale, New York, 11735. I'll just briefly give an overview. The plan that's in front of you is the what we call the site rendering, and it depicts in colored form the overall site layout of the property. And I'll just go through some of the numbers here, the specifics for the property. The site area is 25,537 square feet. That's against a code required minimum of 20,000 square feet. The existing building area is 1,615 square feet. We will be making an extension of that building of 1,015 square feet for a total of 2,630 square feet. As Mr. Brown had mentioned, contained within that building will be a convenience store and also a Dunkin' Donuts counter. There will also be a canopy proposed over 4 fueling positions. Over 4 pump islands, which will provide 8 fueling positions. The existing condition today is such that the canopy is located to the southerly side of the property, in fact, at 0 setback from the right-of-way. We will be increasing that setback significantly by locating the building more northerly and on a westerly side of the lot. And we'll be creating much better circulation by moving the vehicles away from the roadway as they queue into the pump islands. Beyond that, we have various site improvements. Again, as Mr. Brown had mentioned, I think one of the most significant improvements is the proposed landscaping, which you can see in the green areas on the rendering in front of you. About 25% of the lot, a little over 25% of the lot will be landscaped. Essentially, the proposed development will have landscaping literally anywhere that a structure or a required access aisle or parking stall is not located. Just by means of some other numbers, zoning permits 75% of the lot to be impervious. As I mentioned before, we have 74.5% of the lot is proposed as impervious, so we meet that standard. And again, as Mr. Brown had indicated, we received all necessary bulk relief from the Zoning Board of Appeals. With regard to access, the question was brought up for traffic. I will let Mr. Olivo discuss the traffic issue, so I won't take too much time on that. But just to go briefly through the existing conditions, there currently are 2 full access, 2-way curb cuts to the premises. One is located along Old Country Road, and one is at the corner of Old Country Road and Osborne Avenue. It's actually within the right-hand turning lane from Osborne onto Old Country. The northerly portion of the lot is currently undeveloped as it sits today. What's proposed along Old Country Road is 1 full access, 2-way curb cut along the westerly end of the site and 1 entrance-only curb cut located along the easterly side, being moved approximately 40 feet from its existing location where it's within the turning lane to create a safer condition. Along Osborne Avenue, we also have a 2-way full access curb cut located as far north from the intersection as is feasible, again, to enhance traffic safety. With regard to the curb cut approvals, we have made a preliminary submission to Suffolk County DPW, and in fact, we did meet with representatives of the Highway Department last week at the facility, and they have some commentary which is forthcoming for the application, but we feel that with very minor tweaks to the access plan that's proposed before you, we will have an approved access plan from Suffolk County Department of Public Works in short order. That's my overview. I didn't want to get into too much detail. I know that the traffic was of question, so I'd like to turn it over to Charles Olivo from Stonefield to answer any traffic questions, unless there's other questions at the board.
Traffic question?
Yes, sir.
I see the entrance that was, is that Os, I can't read, because, is that Osborne Avenue down at the bottom?
No, Osborne.
No. Is that Route 58? Osborne's there.
This is 58, this is Osborne.
Okay. Osborne Avenue, is that exit and entrance in the turning lane, or is that past, north of the turning lane?
It's north of it.
It's north of it?
Yes.
Because right now they're coming out into the turning lane. Okay, so you're gonna move it north?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, if I may. I don't know if you can see the plan
Yeah.
here. Maybe I can turn it a little bit. So the proposed access point, again, as I mentioned, is as far north on Osborne as possible. The turning lane starts approximately 100 feet back from the intersection, so the proposed curb cut is actually located beyond that. As you mentioned, the existing curb cut is quite oddly located here at the very
Right,
corner of
yeah.
the intersection. We asked DPW about that when we met them because they recently redid this intersection, as the board is aware, and it sounded like that was something that they were looking to fix as part of a future development, so we're accommodating them.
Sounds good.
Okay,
All
thank
right,
you.
Can we hear from Mr. Olivo? And you can move the microphone if you want to use the pointer.
Great. Good afternoon, Mr. Supervisor, members of the board.
Mr. Olivo, I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand. Is the testimony about to give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do, yes.
Thank you.
And just for the record, Charles Olivo, O-L-I, V as in Victor O. I'm the owner of Stonefield Engineering and Design, which is located at 1601 Veterans Memorial Highway, Islandia, New York, 11749. And Mr. Tartaglia and certainly Mr. Brown have given a very good overview of the project. Our firm was asked to review both the internal circulation layout as well as the off-site roadway conditions as a result of the redevelopment here. And Mr. Tartaglia has done an excellent job of explaining some of the access management principles that are going to be involved in redeveloping this site. As I'm sure this board is aware, this is a very important intersection here. Old Country Road is a major east-west artery that generally travels on the southerly portion of the town. This intersection, on the course of a typical day, just for some scale, Old Country Road carries about 25,000 vehicle trips per day. Osborne Avenue is just under about 10,000. So obviously the east-west artery is really what's pumping the blood through this network here. As a result of the proposed development, the goal is essentially to take the driveways as they exist in rather atypical locations and relocate them to more efficient locations. Now, with gas station development of old, it was generally an afterthought in terms of where you located your access points. There's a lot of focus on the internal circulation plan and understanding of whether or not you can get vehicles in and out of the site. But now what we do when we work with the DPW, the Department of Transportation, and certainly other jurisdictions is look to try to improve upon, in cases of redevelopment, any access from a safety and efficiency standpoint. So as Mr. Tartaglia explained, along the bottom of the page is Old Country Road. As you know, if you've patronized this gas station, that turning area that allows you to make the right turn from Osborne onto Old Country Road, that right turn, the whole idea of that is to allow for a free flow of traffic from Osborne moving in a southerly direction to Old Country Road. By having a driveway on that channelized right turn lane, you immediately create friction in that movement. It's something that drivers don't expect, and so the goal here is to take that driveway out of that area and put it in a more typical location. In addition to that, what we're proposing to do is take the driveway on Osborne Avenue and shift it as far away from the stop bar at the intersection as we can. Under the proposed plan, that driveway, which again is running from top to bottom, Osborne on the sheet that's in front of you, would be about 190 feet away from the stop bar. What that means is that about 10 cars can queue at that stop bar and stack before that driveway would be impeded. It's outside of the area of the left turn lane at the intersection itself, and those are all guidelines that we use when we look to design safe access to and from the site. So certainly on Osborne, we have a vast improvement over the traffic conditions that exist today. Now also on Old Country Road, what we're proposing is a limited access point that allows for right-in about 50 to 60 feet away from the intersection proper. But then again on Old Country Road, we would have a driveway that's approximately 200 feet away from the intersection, where you'd have the majority of your customer traffic coming in and out of the site. So again, you could accommodate a 10-car stack before that driveway would be blocked, and you also have a two-way left turn bay along Old Country Road to facilitate movements in and out of the site. So from a safety perspective, there are certainly great enhancements and benefits to the proposed plan before you. It's in many ways, as Mr. Tartaglia mentioned, it's a modernization and certainly a rethinking of the gas and convenience store element, which is really becoming a very integrated use. And gas stations of old are now starting to incorporate both the convenience store element with the gas to allow for one-stop shopping, rather than grabbing your coffee someplace and then completing another trip somewhere down the road. One of the nice things about these types of sites, and I've worked on hundreds of gas stations with convenience stores and certainly conversions like this, is that you have an existing customer base that uses the gas station today. The convenience offering is simply added on as a result of adding the convenience store. So you've already captured that trip today. By changing and modernizing the site, you would experience very similar traffic conditions with the improvement and the enhancement of the driveways that we have proposed here. So overall, some excellent improvements are proposed as part of the project.
I have a couple of questions. Do you think the DOT or the county DOT or Department of Public Works is going to allow you to have 2 curb cuts on Old Country Road?
The right hand and then also...
That's the one closest to Osborne Avenue. And this is just in my mind thinking that you wouldn't be allowed to make a left in there, and maybe it's only a right in only. I don't know. Have you had any feedback?
Well, we have had some initial consultations with the DPW. Certainly we're going to continue that process as we go through the full engineering of this plan. But based on preliminary comments, they're generally agreeable to the location with some slight modifications, perhaps relocating it slightly, pulling it towards the west.
And that would be a right turn only into
And a right turn only. They have asked for some further channelization so that it would be physically prohibitive of someone coming down Old Country Road and making the left turn in.
And then the last question is, do you think they're going to allow you to, because it's not a light there, do you think they're going to allow you to make a left out on Old Country Road from, you're allowed to now, but
right.
I'm just wondering if they're going to continue that.
Well, you pretty much hit both of their comments on the head, Mr. Supervisor. Their one concern was about the location of this driveway, which I mentioned we're going to continue to refine. They did have some concern with the left turn egress movement out of this driveway since we have alternative access on Osborne Avenue. Anyone that would be making that left turn could also make the right turn out onto Osborne.
I personally would go out Osborne. I do the same thing with the town garage. I go around to the highway department and come out on Osborne. It's much safer.
Well, with this improved access plan, what I tend to find in certainly my travels and the counts that we do is when it's very difficult, where you have your major artery that has a lot of volume on it throughout the course of the day, and you have an alternative access point and a primary access point, the traffic tends to be self-correcting. When this is very challenging and includes a lot of delay to get out of the site, the right turn is one of the easiest and safest movements, and then you have a traffic signal at the intersection itself.
I understand what you're saying, but it would be a lot easier and a lot more calming if we didn't have a left turn out of that entrance, because you are going across 2 lanes of traffic and a turn lane to get to the eastbound lane where you're making that left turn to, and you are pretty close to that traffic light. On a good summer or weekend, that traffic backs up more than 200 feet.
No question.
So, in your thinking, maybe you could not have a left turn out of there and direct people to the Osborne Avenue exit where it's safer, and we won't have any accidents of people coming out. We have along 58, most of the new establishments that do not have a traffic light have no left turn.
Restricted access.
So it's a good thing to think about. And I would recommend that to our planning department, to think about a left turn coming out of that service station. Huh?
It's certainly something we're taking into consideration, Mr. Dunleavy, because of the fact that we will have to address it at planning board stage.
Yes.
Right now. So Mr. Olivo and his team are working with the county DPW to try to alleviate some of your exact concerns.
Yeah, because you always have the 1 or 2 people that think they're going to beat traffic and get across there, and especially we have an older population. They do not give the gas fast, they give it slow. And we've had accidents where elderly people are turning into places because they think they have enough space, but they're driving too slow and they can't get across 2 lanes of traffic.
The point's well taken, and it seems to be a point that the county has raised as well. So as we continue through the process, we'll certainly take that under serious advisement.
It might be a recommendation of the town board in our deliberations, as you are going to increase the scope and size of the facility, the use. How opposed are you if the town board makes a recommendation that there's no left turn out of there?
At this stage, I think, we would rather see that we take this up with the county DPW, Mr. Supervisor, because of the fact that, and one thing that I was thinking about as we were having the dialogue was that because of the light there are further gaps in traffic.
Yes.
So it allows for easier exits to the left.
I'm not a
Whereas
traffic
If it was
engineer.
mid-block, if it was more mid-block, it would be, I could see it, and Chuck, back me up on this if you agree. But the fact is that I think it'd be a worse condition if it was further mid-block than where it is located now.
And I think that the layout is much better. I actually frequent this gas station. It's right down the street from where I live. And I really like the fact that you've eliminated the north access on Osborne Avenue. And I would refer to Suffolk County DPW and their traffic experts as far as coming out and making a left turn onto Old Country Road, because if everybody's going out onto Osborne Avenue, that traffic is going to back up and you're not going to be able to get out onto Osborne Avenue to make a left to head westbound on Route 58. So I would refer it back to Suffolk County Planning and take their recommendations. But I think that this provides for landscaping, and it's a much better aesthetic view from the roadways, and it'll give us an opportunity to enforce our landscaping plans that we're trying to improve the area on Route 58.
Absolutely. And I'd also note too that the planning commissioner is here too, and we'll work extensively with the planning staff to come up with the
commissioner.
I was going to say, they
The
might
commissioner.
have that recommendation in their mind already. The seed has been sown, folks.
Mr. Brown and Mr. Lebo, I just have one question. It's very similar to what the supervisor mentioned. How necessary is that second cut for just that one right-hand turn in? How necessary is that? I mean, if that wasn't there, you'd probably widen the apron on the other side too. I don't know whether you even need that there or why that would be there.
The reason for that driveway is, quite frankly, the service vehicles entering the site as well as any delivery vehicles would use that driveway. So the goal, this would be much less utilized than the driveway here.
Right,
This
I
would
would
be
think so.
occasionally used once or twice a day or during off-peak hours by some of the delivery vehicles to enter into an area where they could unload
So it's a
easily
loading, unloading
without,
zone.
and to
Okay.
create segregation between the activity of the store and the gas pumps and then also that area.
All right,
It also increases the flow, because if you have somebody coming out in the east
Well,
turn,
that's-
then you have to make a complete stop on Route 58 in order to not hit that car that's coming out and to make the right-hand turn into the development. So that, at an angle entryway into the facility, the flow of traffic, I think, would be much better.
Agreed, there's certainly going to be a distribution here and here, so it allows it to somewhat come to an equilibrium. We just want to make sure to get it out of the area that it is today, which was.
I just wish you would show the island that they have there,
On
where
the-
that island is, for that entranceway.
We actually have an aerial, which depicts it. That's the current.
Did I see that island on the right hand, not the big one, no?
This
Yeah,
is-
that one there.
right.
Where does that, coincide with your entrance there?
That's nowhere near there.
The island would be in this gray hatched area here.
That far back?
Yeah. This is the intersection. It's difficult to see without the striping laid out on it, but the intersection proper is in this area here. So the center of the intersection is about right here. That striped area is carved out and right about there.
Well, it is a tremendous improvement, and
Sure
we look. I look forward to seeing that it gets built.
And as a retired
with the-
policeman, I appreciate the Dunkin' Donuts as well.
Yeah, no, we like the improvement, and I have to say that you were right, that we have to go with times. And service stations shouldn't be called service stations no more, because they do not service vehicles. All they do is, they're gas stations, they pump gas, and they have to have a convenience store for the owners to make profit. And this is what, it just beautifies the area more. So I have to give you that credit, that, we're just trying to do public safety as far as traffic is concerned.
I have a feeling the county's going to take care of those concerns. Does anybody else wish to be heard from the audience on this application? Yes, Sandra Mott. I recognize the keys.
Good afternoon, Sandra Mott, Riverhead. I just had a couple of questions. I just wanted to clarify it in my mind. This is the station that's on the north side of Route 58.
And Osborne
across-
Avenue.
And
South
Osborne,
side.
across northwest. Okay. Now I can ask my questions.
Excuse me, can you take that down? So we can see
My
her?
concerns are, one,
Thank you.
the fact that I can appreciate your need for additional income for whoever's going to operate this facility, but I was wondering, I just want to clarify a couple of things. From all the development, if I could call it other things, along Route 58 over the past few months, and the fact that we already have, and I'm just trying to bring to mind 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gas stations already there. And you're also going to have Costco, which is going to have a major gasoline center, which is going to be built in, is that part of the plan still?
Yes.
Okay. Is Walmart going to have comparable?
No.
No. Okay. One less competitor for you.
Well, this is an existing gas station.
No, I know that,
Right.
but my concerns are basically the fact of the shifting, the number of gas stations already on Route 58, the fact that a lot of area to the west is going to be focused on between Walmart and the Costco Center and et cetera, and whatever the hell they're building behind the Holiday Inn on Route 58. That's major competition, and if you have such a small amount of opportunity to make money on this deal, I think those considerations that you're a major competitor will probably be Costco, bringing people from all directions, and they're not going to be that far away from this particular location. In a safety concern, this is going to be adjacent to the current EMS facility, correct? That's just going to be, EMS is just north of that, right?
Correct.
There's one lot vacant between them.
One lot vacant. And it's also adjacent to the town highway department, more or less.
More or less.
Well, in between that, there are wetlands. There's a lovely pond there, and when the traffic is heavy and you can slow down and you're not being rear-ended and pushed, you can actually see in front of the highway department the wetlands. Now, I couldn't really tell from the mapping because it wasn't facing the audience what direction they're planning to push this current plan.
This would be outside the wetlands jurisdiction, because if it weren't, our planning staff would have brought that up to our attention.
There's one lot between this gas station and the wetlands. It's an empty lot where the cars used to be parked.
Yeah, that's what I was,
That's between. That's
this
a
where they're
different owner.
planning
They
to
don't-
expand
He doesn't
out?
own this, it's a different owner.
pardon?
We're not expanding the size of the lot.
How many bays are you going to have at this location?
There's not going to be any bays, it's just,
Gas pump?
oh, gas pumps. I'll let them I'll let them step up after, just take the notes and we can respond.
And as you know what my focus is, really, one, the EMS can get in and out of their facility safely. When you're talking about cars and trucks and deliveries, et cetera, backing up, the last thing we need is anybody blocking EMS. This town is exploding. In one day, 3 days, we had the EMS in Glenwood. All the other developments around there, and the roads are not simple around here. You either know where you're going or you don't. And fortunately, our EMS people do, and the fire and the police departments. I want to make sure that they're protected, so they're not going to end up jammed up and people going to be harmed because of their lack of ability to get in and out. And I really want to be protective of that wetlands, 100,000%, considering what we've just observed over the past 2.5 months in Glenwood, literally out our front window, because everything gets obliterated, whether it's in your plans or not. Every tree, every bush. I started laughing when I heard about Wading River and their concern with their trees and their buffers and their this and that. Nothing was considered on the development. Development's fine, but a little consideration for those of us
I
who are
understand.
here. So I want you to make sure that these people are not going to, oh, gee whiz, we
I don't think
accidentally
there's a
went
single
over.
tree on that property. I'm going to go look at it.
I'm concerned about the wetlands and the dirt and the filth.
Yeah, that.
And I want to make sure that the animals are going to be protected who already live there, as well as those of us who live there with the EMS.
I will ask them to address if they know the setback or if they know they're out of the jurisdiction of the wetlands, they can address that.
Okay, I'd appreciate that.
All right, thanks, Sandra.
Thank you, Supervisor. Just a couple of quick answers. We're not expanding the size of the parcel itself at all. Whatever is the extent of the development will be the extent of future development. As far as landscaping is concerned, I would say it's sparse on the site today. There's a couple of
Hey, you have some
small
weeds
caliber
growing
trees.
somewhere.
I don't even know if they constitute landscaping, to be honest with you. There will be 4 pumps. There will be 8 fueling positions for vehicles.
Okay.
And with respect to the safety concern about the EMS facility in the highway department, I would defer to Mr. Olivo to answer those questions.
Okay.
Thank you.
It actually makes it better.
But actually, you're only adding, I think there's 6 there now, fueling
That's correct.
stations, so you're only adding 2 more fueling stations, from 6 to 8.
It's from 4 to 8, I've been told.
Is it 4 now?
Yes.
Stations?
Yeah,
Or-
got 2 pumps.
There's 2 pumps.
2 pumps, 4 positions going to 4
Okay,
pumps,
so you
8
go 4 to 8,
positions.
okay.
All right, so what do we have on the EMS traffic?
Just for the purposes of discussion on this aerial exhibit, the northwest corner of the intersection is located towards the left-hand side of the page.
Excuse me one second, let me just turn it, because she made a comment that she couldn't see it. Can you see it now, Senator?
Senator, you can come up and take a look if you want
You
to.
can come over here if you'd like. I tried to put it somewhere so that both the audience and the board can see it.
Site is located towards the left-hand side of the board here. There'd be a raising of the existing structure and then the reconstruction as was shown on the site plan. The proposed driveway would generally be in the location here, which is again about 200 feet from the intersection proper. The EMS driveway would be approximately another 150 to 200 feet away from that driveway, and therefore there would be no influence of the driveway that's being proposed on Osborne to the driveway that exists already to the EMS. And as I mentioned, in terms of traffic generation, these sites pull traffic from the roadways themselves, meaning that these are pass-by trips that are already on the roadway system. What studies show is that as much as 90% of the traffic that goes in and out of these sites is already comprised of that 25,000 and 9,000 a day that's happening right now before it's changed. So there'd be no impact from a proximity standpoint or blocking. In fact, in some ways, I think this has improved there's one expansive driveway that it encircles a utility pole that's located about 150 feet away from the intersection, where trucks sometimes lay over and park. It's just an expansive, unconsolidated driveway that would be formalized, obviously, in the proposed condition.
Yes, and no overnight parking. Probably not allowed to have
And your
overnight parking.
wetlands, and the wetlands.
And the wetland distance to the wetlands, do we know the distance to the wetlands?
Is there any, for hours of operation, is there anything for the store? Is it gonna be hours, is it gonna be open 24 hours a day? Or is it-
I don't know if we're restricted.
The wetlands first.
Okay.
Yeah, so
There's
the
no
lot,
wetlands there? There's no
the
wetlands.
lot that's between us, our lot ends approximately here on the map. The lot that's adjacent to us has 263 feet of frontage along Old Country Road, and I believe the wetlands are located on that adjacent lot,
Right.
as Councilman
So,
Levy mentioned.
the town owns them.
Yes.
Yeah, so the edge of our lot is 263 feet
Yeah,
plus
you know.
whatever distance the wetlands may be mapped in. So we're well beyond any kind of wetlands jurisdiction.
Thank you.
There.
So your building is going to be from south to north then?
The building is actually existing, we're just
I know,
expanding it.
I've used it. So, you're obliterating, taking that one down, and then putting in a new one, but it's going to be basically
You're hitting
a
super-
south to north type,
No,
longer?
as I mentioned,
Can I see your diagram, which we could
there's
just
no
see?
obliteration, no demolition, we're adding to the building.
Okay.
You said
All
you
right,
would.
one at a time. All right, one at a time. Sandra, I'll let you get back up.
No, that's, all right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So just for clarification, this is not a raise and rebuild. We're actually pushing out the building.
Okay.
The building itself that's there now, one of the walls will be coming down, will be expanded further out to the north.
Okay,
To the north.
sounds good. Anybody else wish to be heard on the matter? Sal, did you want to say something? So you get up.
Sal, do you raise your hand, please?
I'm going to ask questions, not make
Oh,
statements.
okay.
Well, you still have to.
Well, I was gonna ask you.
We
You swear to
didn't
tell the
swear
truth?
Sandra in either, but
Yeah, I
it's
know I
fine.
didn't. I got totally distracted. Swear the testimony about to give will be truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you.
First of all, I was going to ask the question about hours of operation, but Jim beat me to it. But I didn't hear an answer.
Right, so you can ask it.
Okay, so what hours of operation are you going to have?
Okay, is that the only question?
No.
Two is, I take it this is another store that's going to sell alcohol in town. Okay, that's my comment.
Could be.
Three is, if we add another convenience store on Route 58, all we're going to do is take business away from the existing convenience stores. They just put one in at the station that's right next to the Holiday Inn. You got Hessmart up the road. You got 7-Eleven down the other end. There's only so much business on 58, okay? So, you know, you're going to be inundating 58 with convenience stores, and they're just going to take away from each other.
I hope not.
Well, I don't think so, Sal. If you go past it, every one of those gas stations on 58, I go down that road a lot every day, and there's never none that are empty. And with the convenience store is that when you pull in for gas, you can run in and get a cup of coffee or a donut and come back out and get back in the car and continue your travel.
Yeah, and dump the cup on the
that's basically
roadway
what it's not there
when
for,
you're finished.
for people
But
to
we
go
have
shopping.
you.
I know,
I see you every
but
day.
I don't get that far. I only handle the Wading River
That's
area.
it. But it's not there for everyday shoppers to go there. It's not like a deli. It's a convenience store where you run and get a cup of coffee, or get a potato chips, or get pretzels or something, so you can take them with you
Okay.
when you're in the
Yeah,
car.
the other comment that I would make is, I'd like to see the town make it a requirement or a stipulation that there is no left-hand turn out of the station, okay, to go east on 58.
Yeah, I think that
Okay,
point is
before
not
they
made.
get the
This is-
special
That's
permit.
it. To our planning department, I think that point has been made to them.
Thank
All
you.
right, thanks, Sal.
Thanks, Sal.
I guess there were two questions in there, and I would,
I'll take them in reverse order, actually. As this board is well aware, and Mr. Kozakevich, I'm sure can counsel you, that competition alone is not a valid basis to form a decision on a land use matter. The second thing, with regard to the sale of alcohol, yes, we have applied for a beer license through New York State Liquor Authority, and as such, with respect to hours of operation, this board, I'm sure, is well aware of the case law, that issue is actually taken off the table. It's preempted by state law because the State Liquor Authority regulates the hours of operation. As you know, Sunday blue laws are still in effect. You can't have alcohol sales between midnight on Saturday night and noon on Sunday. I don't believe there's any other questions.
The hours.
hours of operation for the store
Plan on
itself.
operating 24/7.
Is that permitted in that use district? We'll have to find that out. I'm not positive it is or it isn't.
Because they close early now.
It's zoned BC, and as far as I know, there is no restriction on hours.
Yeah, if there's a restriction, you're covered by it. If there's no restriction, you're not. All right. Anybody else wish to be heard on the
I just want to
subject?
ask one more question. Does the same owners own the Esso station across the street?
I don't know the answer to that.
You don't know?
I don't.
Okay.
Your clients, you don't know the answer. Okay, thank you.
All right.
Just to clarify, Mr. Dunleavy, we actually represent a tenant who's going in, not the property owner.
Oh, okay.
That's why I don't know the
Okay,
answer.
well, I was told that the tenants own the Esso station across the street. I don't know.
And I just
And
asked
that
my
was my
client,
question
and
to
he
you.
shook his head no.
You said no, okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
If there are no further comments from the audience or the town board, we'll close this public hearing, leave it open for written comments until May 17th at 4:30 in the town clerk's office. Mr. Brown, thank you very much for coming. Mr. Tartaglia, Mr. Olivo, enjoy the rest
Thank
of
you.
your day.
Thank you.
Do
Thank
you
you
want
for
to
your
leave
time.
copies of these site plans to make them part of the record too?
Yes,
We
please.
don't need the boards. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, if there's no further comment, let's, resolutions, comments on the resolutions. Sal, how'd we do?
Good. Resolution 366. If you look at the numbers in 366, they don't add up. The total is 15,300, but the sum of the two numbers is $15,350. So $50 one way or the other has to be changed. You got 11,850 and 3,500 is 15,350. And the amount is
Right, so we'd have to
15,300.
change it, it's 35, it would be 50, is correct.
Huh?
You'd be correct, an additional $50.
So we have to contribute $35.50?
No, no.
No, 3,500, but you add the two sums
Either you
together.
contribute $34.50 or you change the total to 15,350.
Got it.
George, what do we do?
Yeah, we changed the total to 15,350, correct?
Okay, then the numbers add.
Right,
Okay.
as amended.
What else you have?
Wow.
Steve Romano.
Good afternoon, Steve Romano, Riverhead. Question on setting the chief's salary. Is there an increase? If so, what is the increase in the percentage?
The board, well, this is not correct, and the resolution is going to get tabled.
I think
It was
we're
a
gonna table it, yeah.
2% increase. The chief used to be covered under the SOA contract, or state law rather, and the chief would get a percentage increase based on the SOA contract, which was loosely based on the highest lieutenant's salary. And about the only thing that was removed from the tax cap was that the chief, I forget the number of this statute, 207M. That was about the only thing removed from the tax cap, is that the chief's salary in the department would not be covered by this. So while everybody in the department got a 2% raise, the chief didn't get anything. But that's going to be pulled because there's going to be further discussion on it.
All right, so can you entertain any more questions on it, or?
Well, it's somewhere in the neighborhood of a 2%.
No,
because
in
that
other
was-
words, more
yeah,
generic questions in regards to the chief's eventual salary.
Generic.
Generic. How does it compare currently with other towns of similar size and police forces?
I'm going to say probably for a police officer / chief that's been in the department for 30 years, it's comparable.
I think it's on par. Yes.
Okay, question in regards to, I don't know if you can expand on the settlement, Mary Hopkins, what's that all about?
Which number was this?
It's not a settlement, it's an extension of a per diem contract for her. She's a 19A instructor with the state for motor vehicles, and she's doing safety training for our bus drivers at the senior center.
Okay, great. And question on the indemnification of, I guess, the former supervisor, Richie Downs and George Batunik. Can you expand on that? What's that all about?
That's pursuant to our town code. They were sued, again, I guess this was, which number is that? Is that Larry Oxman?
Yeah, it's a-
or?
Oh, is that the Larry Oxman thing? That's still
Yeah.
going on?
Yeah,
Oh,
filed-
holy.
Well, when it gets cold, you gotta stoke it. So
Oh,
it's stoked.
We filed another lawsuit, and our code requires
On the same property?
indemnification. Yes. So we're just indemnifying the employees and former employees pursuant to the code.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to be heard on the resolutions?
I'd like to get, I want to make one comment about, unless Jim's going to speak. Mr. Stark? Are you gonna
Supervisor
comment?
Stark, would you like to speak on the one, or would you like?
Are you going to comment?
Supervisor
on the one?
Kozakevich should do that. Okay.
We have an attorney.
Former supervisor. We have two former supervisors, Supervisor Kozakevich and in the back Supervisor Stark.
Hi.
Sandra.
Yeah, Sandra Mott, Riverhead. Resolution 339, the general fund for the annual shelter budget adjustment. That's strictly basing the transfer.
Yes, it's a
Okay.
transfer of our basic operating costs into an account that we can use to pay our contractual obligations.
Okay, now that will not involve the relocation of the animals?
This does not.
Does not.
That's a separate issue.
Separate
We're
entity.
still
Okay.
working on.
Services.
Okay. Well, you already know how I feel about
Yep.
Norfolk. I just want to restate it on the record for God knows how many times. Thank you very much, long overdue, and I'm happy to read, is it Miss Lynch who, there was an article
I
in the
think
news
Pat
review?
Lynch wrote an
Pat
article.
Lynch wrote a letter, and I'll tell you, it's very satisfying to know that that has happened. I'm going to stick around. I want to comment on the relocation, so, but thank you very much.
Okay.
In
Thank
case
you.
I run out of steam to hang.
Thank you. Supervisor Kozakevich.
I am going to take off my town attorney hat, put that to the side, and put on my Heidi's Helping Angels hat. A couple years ago, I was asked to get involved in a community organization. We thought it proper and fitting that we recognize somebody who did the most courageous thing ever, gave their life for their community in a rather tragic occurrence, lost their life while serving in that capacity as a EMT and a responder, and that was Heidi Bear. We did that because at the time the family was in dire need of more space as Jared was continuing to grow, and somebody in the back who refuses to speak corralled a few people together, Mr. Supervisor James Stark, grabbed a hold of me and said, well, you are the attorney, so help us get this done from a legal perspective, and lo and behold, we've come full ahead, and a few eons ago, I guess, or a few moons ago, the idea of naming a location in the town of Riverhead came about. And this location, after some research was done, seemed a proper and fitting location. And we applaud the board for doing it. We hope that you, in fact, vote on this unanimously, because it is the right thing to do for Heidi, in memory of Heidi's service to the town, and for the Bear family that's still out there, and I'm sure they're watching, and I'm sure Heidi's watching, so thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to say one thing. I just want to applaud, again, ex-supervisor Jim Stark. I mean, he was the guiding light behind this. I got a phone call, because I'm the liaison between the ambulance and the town, and I got a call for Jim when he was in Hawaii. And he was pushing this. Yes, and then I called him back. I didn't know he was calling me from Hawaii. I called him back, and he says, you called me at 3 o'clock in the morning. I said, oh, I thought he was still home. I thought he was home. He returned. But I just want to applaud Jim for bringing this up and pushing it and getting to go ahead to do this. Thank you, Jim.
You know, Jim, you did a wonderful thing here, and there's a resolution that's coming off the floor today. So we're going to do something for you today that has nothing to do with the wonderful thing you did for Heidi Bear. And this is our CDA Resolution 5. One of the, I get in trouble, so I probably won't say it. I'm an outspoken supervisor. Supervisor Stark was an outspoken supervisor, and he did something for this town that was tremendous, and he got the EPCAL property given to this town at no charge. And I hope you stay here, because there's a resolution number 5 for the CDA where we're finally going to declare lead agency. The subdivision is laid out in a way that everybody agrees with, and in less than a year, your vision and your dreams will finally come true, and we'll have finally done what the town should have done many, many years ago. So I thank you. So I think my gift to you as the guy who made this happen is getting this resolution passed, and I really do appreciate what you've done with the Heidi Bear family. All right, not seeing anybody else, let's
I'd like to close the town board meeting and open the CDA meeting for one resolution. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
The CDA meeting is now opened. Resolution number 5.
Number 5 authorizes the town board, on behalf of the town of Riverhead and the Community Development Agency, to adopt a development plan for EPCAL, including proposed subdivision map, full environmental assessment form, draft scope of issues for the anticipated supplemental generic environmental impact statement, and authorizes the supervisor to execute all such documents required to effectuate the commencement and preparation of supplemental generic impact for purposes of study of potential environmental impacts. So moved.
And seconded.
This is a watershed moment. It really is. Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
This is taken off the
Taken
floor.
off the floor.
The resolution is taken off the floor. Resolution number 5 for the vote.
As read. So moved.
Okay, I know we
And
got it.
seconded.
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted.
The motion to close the
I'd like to
CDA.
close the CDA meeting and reopen the town board meeting. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
The town board meeting is now reopened. Resolution 338.
2013 CHIPS curbing and resurfacing road improvement project budget adoption. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 339.
The general fund animal shelter budget adjustment. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Great job. Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Start. Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Thank you, yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 340.
Calverton Recreation Park Capital Project budget adjustment. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 341.
Donation received Weeping Willow Open Space Improvement Project budget adjustment. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 342.
Highway Department budget adjustment. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 343.
This is a recreation fund budget adjustment. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 344.
General Town Senior Center donation. It's a budget adjustment. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 345.
Authorizes the release of developer money Stoneleigh Woods at Riverhead Phase 2. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 346.
Establishes location for farmers market for 2013 season. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 347.
This reappoints members to the Suffolk County Town of Riverhead Empire Zone Administrative Board. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 348.
Should we look to table resolution
Yes.
348?
Yes.
So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution 348 is tabled. Resolution 349.
Appoints a public safety dispatcher to the police department. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
We've been down public safety dispatchers, so I'm happy to replace this position and get our force back together. Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 350.
Awards bid for 2013 fertilizer and lawn chemicals. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes, but I think we should change the lawn chemicals to lawn something else. We don't want to put chemicals into the ground.
How about lawn accoutrements?
Yes, see? Huh? Right? I vote yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 351.
This extends bid contract for lubricant items. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 352.
Authorization to publish and post advertisement for work closed for the town of Riverhead. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes, this is a contractual agreement for work closed, so I vote yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 353.
Appoints a seasonal assistant beach manager to the recreation department. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 354.
Appoint seasonal beach attendants to the recreation department. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
It's that time of season, yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 355.
Appoints a seasonal senior lifeguard to the recreation department. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 356.
Appoint seasonal lifeguards to the Recreation Department. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes, and I think we have one of the finest lifeguards in Suffolk County or in Long Island. They saved someone's life last year, and they did doing a good job, so I vote yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 357.
Appoints a seasonal beach manager to the Recreation Department. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 358.
Authorizes execution of contract with C. Claim Administrator. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted.
359 we're going to withdraw because we're only going to do this as a CDA resolution. It's the same resolution we passed for,
Okay, I move resolution 359 be withdrawn, so moved.
And seconded.
moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution 359 is withdrawn. Resolution 360.
Adopts local law to amend Chapter 101 entitled Vehicles and Traffic of the Rivertown Code 101-7 turns Elton Street and Roanoke Avenue. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 361.
Authorizes the town clerk to publish and post a public notice of a public hearing to consider a local law to amend Chapter 101 entitled Vehicles and Traffic of the Riverhead Town Code. Weight limit of 8 tons, and this is removing it off of, or from Pulaski Street, a portion of Marcy Avenue. Yes. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes, in public hearing.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
No.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 362.
Won't be bad. Adopts a local law to amend Chapter 101 entitled Vehicles and Traffic of Rivertown Code. 101-11, no parking certain hours, school zones, Edgar Avenue. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 363.
Adopts a local law to amend Chapter 101 entitled Vehicle and Traffic of Rivertown Code 101-13, parking time limited, Section D, 3 hours. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Abstain.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 364.
Adopts local law amending Chapter 18 entitled Code of Ethics of the Rivertown Code. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 365.
Appoints the law firm of Smith, Finkelstein, Lundberg, Eisler, and Yakubowski to act as special counsel and authorizes the supervisor to execute a retainer agreement. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 366.
Authorize the acceptance of a donation for painting the George Young Community Center. So moved.
As amended.
As amended.
With that
As
$50.
amended. Adding $50 to it.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded as amended.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Once again, I want to thank Helen Duryea for a donation of close to $12,000 to paint the community center, and it's one of many she has given out there. Yes.
Wooten.
I'd like to thank Helen Duryea too. Absolutely, yes.
Dunleavy.
Again, I followed Sue, and I'd like to thank her. She's been a great supporter of the town of Riverhead and donating a lot of stuff to the town. So I say thank you, and I vote yes.
Walter.
I want to thank Ms. Duryea and Mr. Councilman Gabrielson for pushing this forward and finding the $3,500 to match that. Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 367.
367 authorizes supervisor to execute an agreement with the UCLA LaCrenne Center for California Conservation Science to conduct field and genetic studies related to tiger salamanders at EPCAL. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
It says in the CDA resolution regarding EPCAL that study and scoping of environmental impacts related to development within EPCAL began as far back as 1998. In the late 90s and early 2000, there was a comprehensive environmental review regarding development at EPCAL, which the DEC and other state agencies participated in. 2 years ago, we hired VHB as our experts in development plan and SECRA. And during that 2-year period, the DEC has reviewed and redrafted our map and plan for development to the point where we as a town board are adopting the DEC's recommended map, changing location of lots and location of open space. The town has spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I just don't know if this tiger salamander study is intended to delay subdivision and economic development. I hope it is well intended, but VHB and the DEC, who have years of experience in review of environmental issues at EPCAL, are well aware of all endangered species, and we have to rely on them as our experts. So I will vote no.
Gabrielson.
I think I'm looking at it a little differently. That just really is kind of like a research project they're doing for, future education and study the species, not so much as a delay in the process. So I'll vote yes.
Wooten.
Actually, it's pretty well articulated out within the resolution that I'm comfortable with the fact that it says that Mr. Saban acknowledges the town's plan for subdivision development and that the study is not related to the proposed development, but instead the purpose is study tracking. So I'm comfortable with the fact that it looks like it's purely scientific, and it's only a couple of days out of the year, so I don't see it being any lengthy study that would prevent us from moving forward. So I vote yes.
Dunleavy.
I'm going to vote yes because this gentleman knows the tiger salamander. He has foundations all over the United States that he funds. He's going to help us with the grasslands. He's going to, because the tiger salamanders don't like grass, they like woods. So he's going to talk to DEC about the excessive grasslands they want us to plant. Plus, with the bike path, we'll find out where the tiger salamander is crossing, because the DEC wants us to put signs up for the tiger salamanders, so when you're biking or running, that you can avoid them. So I think he's going to track where they go, from wetlands to forest and forest to wetlands, so we can find out just where, and he's going to count them. And he's going to see how many we can get. I spoke to him, want to know how he's going, and he's going to tag them. So he's going to do a lot of stuff out there in EPCAL that's going to benefit the town. It's going to benefit our requirement with the DEC. And all I can do is, it's going to cost $50,000, and he's paying for it. He's going to be responsible for the bill. So I have to vote yes. I mean, I think he's going to do a great job for the town of Riverhead and not hold us up. These people come from California to do this study, from UCLA. So I want to thank him.
Mr. Supervisor, before you vote, can I have a clarification? Please. Before I rescind my vote. He's doing it for his own science. He's not working for the town of Riverhead.
He's not working,
No, he's not working
but he's
for
going
the
to
town.
help us.
Okay.
He's not working for the town.
He's not going to the DEC to justify grasslands or not.
No, he's
Yeah.
going to.
Yeah,
Said he was.
There's, I want to say 50 acres of grassland that the DEC might want us to plant and take down some early
So his
growth
private
trees.
studies may give us some sort of.
Well, he wants to go to, he'd rather us leave it to trees, because he likes trees better, so he said he would go to the DEC and try to lobby the DEC to help us not have to plant the grasslands. But the study doesn't have anything to do with the trees, he just doesn't like grasslands.
And help us with the grasslands, because he likes trees.
I just want to be clear.
Tiger salamander likes trees. And not,
Good thing we adopted that Robert's rules, right?
I just want to be clear why he's here. That's all. He's here for his own.
Not following my rules. Where's my crown?
Well, he's here for his foundation.
Spoken my terms, that's all.
That's why
Okay,
he's here.
okay, let's continue the vote.
Walter.
Yes, speak to the gentleman and find out.
Resolution adopted.
Bring those rules forward so we can figure out what we're supposed to do.
Resolution 368.
Approves the Chapter 90 application of Martha Clara Vineyards LLC, and that's the overflow tent from June 25th, 2013 through August 20th, 2013. So moved.
And second it.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 369.
Approves the defense and indemnification for George Bartnick. So moved.
And seconded.
This is a job that
Yes, you
follows you
changed.
forever. Moved and seconded, vote
Yes, you
please.
changed.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes, it's a town decision that he made, so we have to support him and give indemnification of defense for the stuff that he does for the town. And I hope that when I'm out of here, that they do the same thing for me and the rest of this town board. So it's nothing to laugh about. We're trying, and people do sue us privately. So I vote yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 370.
Approves of defense and indemnification for Richard W. Downs. So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 371.
Approves the defense and indemnification for Philip Cardinale. So moved.
And seconded?
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 372.
Approves the Chapter 90 application of East End Rowing Institute Ltd., and that's for Sunday, November 10th, 2013. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yeah, I think everybody should write this date down and come out for this regatta, November 10th. I mean, if you ever saw these young people, most of them are young people, and there are a few older people that do this rowing in this regatta. It's all day on the river, so it's a great day, and I wish everybody would come down. I vote yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 373.
Approves the Chapter 90 application of Halleckville Inc., Country Style Fair, May 18th and 19th. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 374.
Offer support to New York State Legislator to amend Chapter 399 of the laws of 2008 relating to giving the Riverhead Town Board the discretion to change speed limits. Senate Bill S.4577. So moved.
Second.
I just want to also thank Assemblyman Fred Thiel. As everybody knows, we don't have an assemblyman, which is really disconcerting, should be disconcerting to the residents of the 1st Assembly District. And Assemblyman Thiel from the 2nd Assembly District has carried not only this legislation, but the EPCAL Planning Commission legislation and other things, and not one of, nothing in Riverhead is part of this district.
We'll get it. Huh?
So moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes. Yes, this is something that's very needed. We have almost 40,000 people living in the town, and it takes 2 years for the state to do a survey and give us a speed limit on roads. And we just think that we should be able to put our own speed limits, like we do stop signs and traffic lights, on the roads that we find that are hazardous to the public. I vote yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 375.
Authorizes amendment to the agreement with Mary Hopkins. So moved.
And seconded?
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 376.
Approves Chapter 90 application of Jamesport Fire Department, that's for the 5K and 10K race, to be Sunday, August 25th, 2013. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes, I'm sorry. Reading the next resolution.
Adopted. Resolution 377.
Terminates a maintenance mechanic 3 in the Riverhead Sewer District, Riverhead Scavenger Waste District. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Sorry.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 378.
Authorize the naming of the roadway that runs along the Conic River in downtown River to Heidi Bear Way. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Long time coming, yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
This is just the start of a few nice projects we got for Heidi. Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes, again, I want to thank Ex-Supervisor Jim Stark for pushing this along. I vote yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 379.
This approves Chapter 90 application of PC Richard and Son for their tent sale May 22nd through the 28th of May at 2013. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yeah, this is the start of tent sales, so they're going to happen quite often, so I vote yes.
So get your plants at Gabriel's.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 380.
Approve Chapter 90 application of Peconic Bay Region of the Antique Automobile Club of America, and that's to benefit the Wounded Warrior Project, which will be on May 25th, 2013. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
I'd say yes, and I implore everybody to come out on May 25th, or if it rains on the 26th, to see these cars. I mean, it's unbelievable how people keep these old cars up, and in what condition that they're in. So I vote yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 381.
Authorizes town clerk to publish and post a public notice to consider a local law to amend Chapter 108 entitled Zoning of the Riverhead Town Code, Site Plan Review. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 382.
Authorize the town clerk to publish and post a public notice to consider a local law to amend Chapter 62 entitled Excavations of the Rivertown Code. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes, a public hearing.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 383.
This ratifies the reappointment of a member to the Riverhead Landmarks Preservation Commission. So moved.
Can he do the rest of them too?
Yeah.
The 101?
Yeah.
Reappointment?
Are they different terms?
They are different terms, but they're all.
I guess.
Yeah, do you want to move them? It's fine to move them all,
Yeah.
I think.
All right.
383, 384, 385,
They're all 3-year terms.
386.
And 386.
Different expirations.
Right.
That's fine, all right.
They're all just reappointing members. Could have done it all in one
Yeah.
resolution.
They're all 3-year terms.
Okay, ratify the reappointment of members to the Riverhead Landmark Preservation Commission, Resolution 383 through 386. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded as to moving all forward. All right, vote please.
Giglio.
I just want to say we are very lucky as the town of Riverhead to have such dedicated people to the landmarks preservation. We were able to designate downtown as a national registry and are working on several other areas throughout the town for national registry designation. It really is a draw. People come and they look for historical sites and look at historical buildings, and I think that it'll help our downtown in revitalization. So we're very lucky to have these volunteers. They're very dedicated and they do a fabulous job. Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolutions 383 through 386 are adopted. Resolution 387.
387 ratifies the accounting department the proffer payment of $49,300 to the Riverhead Business Improvement District Management Association Incorporated regarding their 2013 calendar year events and services. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
I gotta work on my cardboard vote. Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 388.
Approves Chapter 90 application of Railroad Museum of Long Island, and that's for Toy Train Play Days, which will be October 12th and 13th, 2013. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 389.
Approves Chapter 90 application of Railroad Museum of Long Island, Riverhead Railroad Festival 2013, August 24th and 25th. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yeah, I implore everybody to come downtown on August 24th and August 25th to see, and they have a train that runs around for the kids to get on and ride around. So I think it's all good, and you'll see what they're doing, the Railroad Museum. I vote yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 390.
Authorize town clerk to publish and post a public notice to consider a local law to amend chapter 108 entitled zoning of the Riverhead Town Code, Article 8, accessory apartment. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
On the question,
Yes.
uh,
Did you call it at the right time?
So moved in second.
you moved and seconded, that's on the
Go
question.
ahead, what's the question?
Okay,
Bob's got to get those rules.
Bob, it says amnesty. For a detached, single-family dwelling that illegally has accessory apartments, the owner shall have 2 years from the enactment of this article to make application without penalty set forth in 52-18 and pre-construction fees, triple fees, as set forth in 52-10H
Yeah, that should be.
shall be
removed.
waived upon receipt. Yes, shouldn't it be removed from this because
So
this?
maybe readopting it.
Yeah, is it starting now again, or is this when we first adopted it and should be removed out of here?
I think we should
Well, the
leave it
original-
in because it's going to encourage people. We're beefing up our code enforcement and we're coming out looking for accessory apartments. So this is your opportunity to get them legalized.
So then there has to be restated,
What number is that?
Yes.
Letter?
11, amnesty.
I don't know that you want to offer amnesty again. We never talked about amnesty a
We never
second
did
time.
talk about it, and this is just it's just amending the original one.
This is to amend the original.
So if you
accessory
want to
apartment.
continue it, then we would have to amend 11 to continue it with this amendment.
I think the real question is whether rechanging the structure of how we enforce this is not actually changing the intent of the,
It's re-putting this amnesty forward.
but the amnesty was in the original code. Are we changing the code substance enough to say it's all a new code? It's not a new code, it's just changing the structure.
You're right, that's the question, and my
That's
thought
the
is
question.
yes, because we're putting it in here and we're changing that particular paragraph.
Right.
So if we're not prepared, maybe we should table this
This is
resolution.
calling for a
take
public
look
hearing,
at it.
but you're right, that amnesty probably should.
All right, let's table this. Can you withdraw your
Yes.
motion?
I'd like to,
I would suggest table.
I'd like to table 390 for further.
It's a good point, John.
And seconded.
Moved in second to table.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Table.
Yes, the table.
Resolution 390 has been tabled. Resolution 391.
391 authorizes the 10% foundation security of Sabre Riverhead LLC to be applied in its entirety towards the building permit fee. So moved.
And seconded?
Moved in seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 392.
Waives the showmobile application fee for Riverhead Central School District, and that's the Phillips Avenue Elementary School. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved in seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Again, this is what the state wants us to do, is join forces with other districts that pay taxes and help them out. And waiving this fee will help the Riverhead School District out, even though the Phillips Avenue School is in the town of Southampton.
This is like
So
moving
I
our
vote
embassy.
yes.
This is like moving our embassy into Southampton, claiming
I
our
vote yes.
territory.
That's a yes. Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 393.
Authorizes the supervisor to execute planned maintenance agreement with Cummins Power Source Systems LLC for generator maintenance for the Riverhead Water District. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved in seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 394.
Rejects bids and authorizes town clerk to republish and repost notice to bidders for annual diesel/generator maintenance. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved in seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 395.
395 increases rates for the Riverhead Water District. So moved.
And seconded.
On a question.
Yes.
Okay. When we were in the work session,
We found out these,
no one's told me.
yeah, these top rates are exactly the same as they were. They're just mentioned again, and the other rates are the ones at the bottom rates are the ones that are increased to 7%.
Our Water District Superintendent's here.
Do you want to confirm that, Gary? The service meter charges are all the same as they were?
That's correct. The
Quarterly
only rates that have been changed are the bottom that goes to $1.50 per thousand, and the bulk rate that goes to $1.75 per thousand. All of the minimum bill, hookup fees, turn on, turn off fees remain the same.
Okay.
And that's literally the
I
upper
agree,
two-thirds.
but I just think that Exhibit A, rate increases for Riverhead Water District, and everything is, you don't know what rates are increased, what rates are decreased.
It's the
What
monthly
are staying the
rates.
same. So I think that the turn off and turn on shouldn't even be on this.
Well, this is the general rate sheet, the way our attorney had wrote it up to pass the resolution. It includes all the rates, whether they're being raised or not.
Yeah, but it's confusing though.
So I guess
We agree.
I'm just saying it's confusing.
No, we agree, but it's just the monthly billing rates, the quarterly billing rates, those are the ones that are the same. That's the flat rates,
Yes.
and we didn't reduce the gallonage.
Nope.
So they're exactly the same in the monthly billing rates.
So this is strictly a usage.
Correct.
Exactly. If you don't go above the minimum bills, has no effect on you.
Right, I agree with you. I'm just saying this is very, it's not
Again, I think.
thought out correctly by writing this like this.
Yeah, our attorney just said that he wanted to pass the resolution with the entire rate schedule present.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you.
it's moved and seconded, I believe.
It is.
And you voted, Jim?
Nobody voted.
Nobody
Moved
voted
and
for
seconded,
another
vote,
question.
please.
Okay, Giglio,
Yes.
Gabrielson,
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Dunleavy.
I'm voting yes, because it's just on the usage. I vote yes.
Walter,
Yes.
resolution adopted. Resolution 396.
Authorizes the chief of police to submit a grant application. So moved.
And I second it. I hope he follows up
Moved and seconded, vote, please. Oh, he
on some of
definitely
these
will.
things.
He
Giglio.
definitely will.
Yes.
Gabrielson,
He brought this
Yes.
to us.
Wooten,
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter,
Yes.
resolution adopted. Resolution 397.
Awards bid for 2013 annual irrigation and maintenance contract. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote, please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter,
Yes.
resolution adopted. Resolution 398.
I make a motion to pay our bills. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote, please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter,
Yes.
resolution adopted. Now we have resolution
I
399 off
want
the floor.
to make a motion that we take resolution 399 off the floor. So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote, please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter,
Yes.
resolution 399 is taken off the floor.
And that is an authorization to publish a notice to the public presentation of the Town of Riverhead's annual MS4 Stormwater Certification Report. It's, we have to get the notice certification published by May 30th, so it's time sensitive, and Mr. McCormick didn't meet our cutoff date. So yes to taking it off the floor. If I haven't, then can we move the resolution?
Resolution 399.
Authorization to public.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
To
You're right.
publish notice of the public presentation of the Town of Riverhead's annual MS4 Stormwater Certification Report. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter,
Yes.
resolution adopted.
I make a motion that we close the town board.
No, we did the CDA.
Oh, CBA.
We called it at the beginning.
Oh, no, we have to listen. Yeah.
All right,
sorry.
we're done with the regular scheduled portion of our meeting. We're on to public comment. We just ask you to limit your comments to 5 minutes. Sandra Mott.
Absolutely. I've said it so many times, you say it for me. My concern has always been the animal shelter, the location, the care, et cetera. We've already moved greatly into the category of care. That's not an issue any longer. We have North Fork and their staff and their volunteers and their philosophy and direction for the facility. I have Sean was good enough to meet with my mother and myself about a week ago regarding a major concern that I now have about the location. I've never liked it on Youngs Avenue because it was out of sight, out of mind, and next to Crown Sanitation and the reclamation of the dump. The proposed suggested location at the Mr. Pfeiffer Senior Center, which was not a successful center because of its location. And as anyone knows who's in real estate, location, location, location is the issue. It is an isolated, not easily accessible, and very difficult to secure location if you do end up going that direction. I'm afraid malicious people would make attempts to harm the animals. And Sean, unfortunately, had that experience with his own cat in his own yard being harmed. So you don't have to be far afield to think that there are malicious people out there. It'll be 20 years in June that we moved into this community, and it has been all but 2 weeks that we had non-involvement. Our involvement has been ad hoc, and all I can say is that location is not a suitable one. It's isolated, lack of security, as I said, malicious people. In our conversation, I asked about hunting. It was supposed to be continue to be allowed adjacent to where the facility would be planned on River Road, as part of the EPCAL Center. I was also advised that when I brought my little visuals on that meeting date for the town map. You can't see it, but I'm going to point out a couple of items. The fire department that I was concerned about being not accessible on Riley Avenue, which I thought was the closest, I found out that area is in the Manaville Fire District. It's not even a Riverhead district. It's a long way through those windy roads from Manaville to get to that facility because I take them to go visit a friend who lives on Chapman Boulevard. The distance is from the police department, and I measured it out. I won't tell you the particulars, but it's a very substantial distance from the proposed facility. From the police department, the Peconic Bay Medical Center, God forbid there was an incident with someone getting injured, a volunteer, a staff person. The EMS, as we all have now restated, is on Osborne Avenue. The animal hospital that's closest would be on the intersection of West Main and Mill Road. The animal hospital, the emergency animal vet is on Riverhead's Route 58, Commerce Drive. Not to mention the police department and Riverhead Town Hall. It's not 1 or 2 miles. It's like 10, 12 miles. It's really far off the beaten track. You do not have the visibility. You do not have the security. My recommendations when we were meeting with Sean was, I know that you're moving the police department and courts to the armory, which you've obtained on Route 58. That would provide security, having the police department right there. It would have the visibility for both the promotion of adoptions. It would have accessibility for both promotions and adoptions of, or taking in of the little ones in need. Or even Youngs Avenue at this stage would be a better location on the reclaimed dump land directly across. EPCAL, next to the dog park, could be, which you're already having pet-friendly people coming. You have the ballparks. I'm going to assume that there's going to be bathrooms in that area. Could be utilized next to the dog park. You could put up the cattery through a donated modular home, a double, with a screened-in facility, as well as the clinic. That could be put up very quickly. And there are probably a number of unowned, unused modular homes throughout many, many communities that we have here. I'm sure someone would be willing to take it off, get their land back, and utilize it for a new unit. Plus, they could write it off as a donation. Not to mention the unused modular unit. I understand that there were 2. One is going to the EMS, and was the second still available, Sean? Did you find that?
We're still working with the school district on the two, talking to the school district, so no final decisions
No,
have been made.
no, but there's a possibility there, because I know that your concern was basically the building was there already, and we might as well utilize it. But what's the, I can comprehend and understand that from a financial end. Halleckville, I understood was state land behind it, or maybe even county land as a possibility. I'm looking for people-friendly, protected environments so that I don't have to wake up some morning and hear about traumas happening. I've lived through 20 years of trauma, and I'm actually shaking right now with all the times I've been here.
Well, I did talk to the North Fork about cameras, which was something that I think the town could do. We do have cameras. We may have cameras. The building does have security.
But it's so isolated. It's so off the beaten track. If you even were having a function there or a need there, like I was told this from Save a Pet. I was told this from Vitally. They have been broken in. Now, Save a Pet is in Port Jefferson on Route 112. On Christmas Eve, somebody went in, broke through the windows, took the cats, and threw them out into their roadway. Vitally has had multiple break-ins over the years. These are staff people who, when we were discussing security, other people I've mentioned this to through different organizations said, oh, well, we never really thought about that, but the importance is to move it. Yeah, but the importance is to move it where we're all going to be secure, and they're going to be secure, because these creatures, whether they're cats or dogs, are dependent on our help. And it's not a question I want to confuse your decision-making or North Fork's, because I support that 100%, but really that location is not particularly a good one, and just from the distances alone. And
I just wish that you would be, I think all the animals should be protected, but also I think the human beings should be protected, and I wish you would be an advocate for the humans that live in Manorville. For our ambulance has to come from Osborne Avenue if someone has a heart attack in Manorville.
How am I not?
Well, no, you're talking about the animals. I'm talking, I wish you would talk also for the humans there and at our police department.
I don't get your
Because if
question.
it's unsafe for animals, it has to be unsafe for human beings, for
Well,
EMS
I
and for our
think I
police
mentioned
department.
the fact that it's not going to be a safe location. God forbid there's an issue.
We're going to do everything we can, Sandra. If this comes forward, we'll do everything we can to make sure that there's if it moves
Well,
forward.
I hope that you're recognizing that I may be voicing it, and you may not want to accept my opinions here, but it's not even just mine. Actually, when I talk to people who actually used to not like me very much for being so vocal, and they came forward and they said, we never even thought about that.
Well, if you think about it, the subdivision that we're doing, there's property just down Grumman Boulevard that will be available for subdividing, and there's going to, at some point there'll be a tremendous amount of activity at Grumman
I
or
can tell you,
at Cal,
Sandra.
so it's.
Thank you, Jim.
I take good notes when you speak.
Yeah,
and
I know.
you know what?
I know, because you know how I know?
And-
Because I hear my words specifically restated,
Right.
and I can say to you, when I'm watching this on TV, because I always watch to make sure how
Well,
I came across.
I didn't finish my thought, but go
Appreciate
ahead.
it. No, go ahead. But my
Okay.
feeling is, I know that you listen, because I hear my
And
words.
you know what, you made a couple good arguments about, which I'm gonna look into, response time for fire department. I know Manorville put a brand new substation.
Yes, I know where it
Specifically
is.
for EPCAL, and there's a special, I wanna check with them and find out what their response time would be, if there is. So that's a cogent argument. And then you talked about 58 accessibility, people around, but then you talk about Halleckville, which you can't get any
Well,
further.
no, I'm just
you can't get
making,
any further out of the
no,
woods than
I'm
there.
suggesting things,
Right, but-
because I'm not
but
coming
these
up here and
are-
saying, this is
These are
not
good,
where it
these are
should
good.
be.
I'm listening, and you know what, they're good suggestions.
All I can
Manorville
say-
Fire Department responds there in less than 7 minutes from Route 111. They have a substation on Route 111.
I
not
know
from-
exactly where it is. I pass it to go to my
Right,
friend on
so they
Chapman
can
Boulevard.
respond there within 7 minutes.
I think they built that just for EPCAL.
From 111.
That's only one issue.
Right.
If you're going to have this kind of a location, I understand that other organizations have overnight, they actually have an apartment where they
And
actually
they may, I
provide.
don't know what their plans are. We just keep moving.
Well, I keep moving and I keep saying.
No, I mean, moving, just,
The
trying to
sooner
keep
this
us.
happens,
I'm trying to keep you
better.
to a town board 5 minutes, which is really
I
like
know
15.
that. But I'll be honest, after 20 years, literally 20 years, the middle of June.
It's like days.
That's a long time. So when people say, oh, it took 2 years to get this,
I hate
in relationship to this and the number of animals that we've cared for and gotten homes for, I showed Sean my photos, and I didn't indicate to you, the photos included all of ours that we had, and the ones with the hearts were the ones who had already passed. So we've been through this too many times. I don't just want to wake up and hear that there's some tragedy because it was put in a location that nobody was watching it. Because even if a camera, you know how long it would take to get there. By the time it was identified as an issue, it would have been over with, That's all I'm saying.
A lot of the same issues we're dealing with now.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Mr. Romano.
Can't believe I missed the water rate increase.
We snuck that in on you.
Yeah. Is there a notification protocol the district uses to advise its customers that this is coming, or do they just throw it into the rate? Does anybody up there know? Is Gary still around?
Where is Gary?
It was discussed at the work session a month ago. It went on Channel 22. I think you're probably going to see it on Riverhead Local News Review, but there's not a formal rate card. We may put it on your water bill.
On the statement that we starting on this date.
And we're still 10% lower or more than
don't
that
compare
than
yourself to
Riverhead Water
Suffolk County
District.
Water,
Suffolk County Water
please.
District.
Their rate increases are out of control.
And they're
as a
going up
former
again.
employee, it's really I mean, I know we're under, which is good, and I'm glad, but I know that we used to use a protocol, and it used to kill me that we would actually notify them prior and after, so it just generated a lot of phone calls. Do one or the
what
other.
happened, what we changed, and you know this, coming from the water district, we have 18 well stations, wells
You
and
did a lot of work.
other pump stations.
That's it.
And
There's a $200,000 short.
4 or 5 of them are all we need to run the entire district year round. The rest of them go on full from June, say, 1st to September 30th or thereabouts. And what the town used to do is put on your tax bill, everybody would pay based on their assessed valuation for all these new wells. Well, that's not really fair to the guys like me and some of the people that live on the small parcels that don't water. I'm paying so that, people can water a lot. And so the board felt it was better, and I built it into my budget this way, is that we keep the tax rate stabilized, but if you choose to use more water, you would pay your share of that use.
Yeah.
That money would go to fund the infrastructure.
Well, basically, this is
the fairest way,
This is
yeah.
going to be commercial people going to be paying this. If you go on 58, you'll see sprinkler systems working 24 hours a day
Oh, no,
during
but-
the summer.
yeah, our condo, I mean, we crank the
residential
water, it's
people are still
unbelievable.
going to pay the minimum, and they're still going to, their risk is not going to increase, and the fellow with a small third of an acre or a quarter of an acre is not going to increase that much. This is for the commercial customers that water all the time.
Yeah, no,
For me.
I didn't know if there was a protocol other than if you caught it on TV or if you
No,
posted it
there's
in
not
the
a-
newspaper.
There's not a formal requirement.
No, only if it goes across the board.
The other question I had is when Ms. Giglio referred to the replacement of a dispatcher. I'm assuming somebody left and we brought somebody in
Yes.
to replace that position.
Somebody left, yes.
This is more of a general comment, and I found it kind of disconcerting over the years that it seems to me, maybe because I'm an outsider and I don't get the information that you guys do, but that there's sometimes lack of detail, attention, follow-up. And when I think about the dispatching thing, when that whole issue came up and it went to the voters for a vote and they approved it, it was kind of mind-boggling to me that the only information that could be provided at the time was the amount of annual calls that came into the dispatching. And hopefully over those years, the chief or whoever's in charge of that, has now have a phone system that provides a lot more detail, like time of call, how long it is, when it comes in. Because when I calculated the number, just if it was 30,000 calls consistently over 724, it was like 2 calls an hour,
About
which I know it can't be.
$2,500 a month.
Well, yeah, but you can't. I was going to say, just because you have 30,000 police responses, you probably have 300,000 phone calls.
Well, does the system give
You
the
get 20
give
phone
that?
calls for one incident.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Does the
And
system
that's
give
not
the detail?
counting information calls too.
Yeah, but
that they receive.
again, does the phone system we're using provide
Yes.
who's ever the administrator with all that detail? Because
Yes,
that
it
tells you
does.
how many people you need, really. And why I brought that up is when we talked about the fire alarm thing, and I'm saying, unless I.
Somebody pay him $20.
No,
for that
it's
fire
in,
alarm.
the check's in the mail.
I already paid for it.
But when after I left, they said, the 4,000 calls, that's really crazy, and they had to do something about it. But when the lieutenant was talking, unless I misunderstood, he didn't have a breakdown of the calls, whether they were burglar, whether they were fire, whether they were commercial or residential.
We
I'm
had
saying,
that.
No, he has that, but he just didn't bring it with him.
oh, he had that,
He has
okay.
that.
Because I said, that's
Everything's
important
on a
stuff to
computer.
have. And the last comment, like I said, because you start the taxi cab thing was in the paper that we didn't follow up, and only so many people
We
had.
will be following up,
Yeah.
and I did speak to the chief about that, and you can foil, it's probably on maybe even the town clerk's office without foil, but you can get our monthly police report
Yeah,
and
the
look
CAD
at it for all the
The
calls.
CAD system they got at the PD is pretty accurate. It tells you every phone call, the length, the
So,
duration.
no, that's
whether
what I'm
it's
saying, it
a
has
hang-up,
that.
whether it's a 911.
I've had a feeling that I just wasn't following the whole gist of it. And the last thing, and I caught it, I think, on a work session, the phone system or the phone bills that they were audited, some work session where we were paying 40 grand more than we had to?
75,000.
The point that I would make is, it's great that we got it, but who do we hold accountable? Sorry, you have management here. They have to sign off on phone bills. You mean to tell me we were blowing that kind of money? And I guess my question is, does anybody get a smack on the, maybe a bad letter in their file? Because that's crazy.
I don't know, Steve, you'd have to work for me and ask the department heads.
Yeah.
You know what it is,
We
too,
don't have
is
it. Oh, go
we
ahead.
have thousands of phone numbers, and it's like the old switchboard where you take one out and you plug it in here and you move this desk over to there,
Thousands
and
of
there's
trunk lines.
so many trunk lines that come in. We're gonna work on that, and we're gonna work on just getting a few trunk lines that we're
I
paying
hope
for,
that's
bring
what it
those
is, and
bills
not
down
people just being lackadaisical and,
No, they're actually lines that we've been charged for that we haven't used in years.
But why don't we know
And they
that?
recognize it, which is why they gave us the money back.
Which is very nice,
That's
'cause
like the fire
the-
department, we had lines that we just plug in, and the fire department would answer. Well, they moved.
And nobody turned
And
it
no one,
off.
no one turned those phone lines off. We have a call box.
That's my point. Who's responsible to get it turned off?
We have a call box in the parking lot,
Yeah.
which hasn't been tested. No, we have no way to see if we didn't turn that call box off. I don't know if anyone tested the call box to see if it
To answer your question,
goes
Steve,
right in. So, yeah, we don't have anybody to do that stuff.
Right, it should be, I'm sure it's something we can address now.
You can rest assured that department heads are held accountable. Sometimes they're not so happy when I hold them accountable for these things, but I hold them
Yeah,
accountable.
and it's not to beat them up. It's just, I think they have
They're
to
held
understand.
accountable.
Everybody's doing more with less, and it's just embarrassing. I mean, for the leaders of the town to have to.
And now Verizon's doing more with less.
They're held accountable, are they
Not paying
punished
anymore.
though? That's the question. Is
well.
something done? It's just me saying you're accountable
John.
Yeah.
is great, but
Yes.
is anything done?
Absolutely.
That's
things-
what we
Absolutely
got.
things are done.
Okay.
Trust me.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
All right.
Okay.
Yes. Good afternoon.
Patricia Holland, Northville. I live directly across from what used to be the Northville Preserve. I lived on Sound Shore Road, and I've heard that they're planning on putting sumps way east of me on a hill. Makes no sense. I live in the low part. I've had my basement flooded twice, once in 1986 with 3.5 feet of water, and once in 2010.
Feel terrible because you sat through a 3-hour town board meeting. Legislator Al Krupski is the person you should speak to. That's a county project. We don't have any control or
No.
necessarily knowledge.
I know that if I say to the county, we're talking about public safety. I mean, those are the famous words. But we, the town, own 5% of that whole area because we're going to make it into It's a place where people can camp and whatever. So right across from me is part of that area, and that's the low point. And what I've heard from people who are into the environmental stuff is that environmental groups will support putting something across from where I live, as opposed to way uphill where it makes no sense. Water seeks a low level, not a high level.
We own 5%, but not 5% of the whole. And I'm not even sure if we own 5% of the back. I don't remember because
I
it's
think there
broke.
was a segregated area
Yeah, I
just
don't-
for the water, for the water.
Yeah, there was a segregated area.
It's a strip.
And it really is a question you'd have to address to the county, because we don't even own, I do not believe we own 5% of that entire lot. I believe that's, it may be the front half of the lot or the back half of the lot that we own 5%. The other, the county owns.
But I know where you live, and you do live, and you live in that section where that house is almost falling off the cliff. Down the other end, you live right on the road. If you go down that road, it's all low there, and that's where the water congregates and rushes down.
Jim, you're the open space liaison. Do you want to, why don't you?
You know, I can check with Anne Marie and I'll find out just what the county's doing there.
Well,
Just so
okay,
you'll-
because right now it hasn't been written in stone. I've
Right,
seen the.
I mean,
old-
let me
I
find
have-
out exactly what's going on so you can follow whoever's
I
telling you.
have seen the aerial photos, where if you look aerial photos, the dark green is what the water is, and the dark green is a Y that goes right into my house. And since I've already had flooding, and people up east of me have had flooding, but not way up east, which is where they want to put
Well,
these
as soon as the meeting's over, as soon as Eric Beegler gets done speaking, I'll grab your name and number.
Yeah, if you
I'll
want to
have
give
somebody
a number to one of
Eric's
my,
only gonna talk for 2
Tara
seconds
McLaughlin's in the back, if you want to give her the number,
Oh, great.
Councilman Wooten will
Thank
take
you.
a look at it. It's something that we'll probably have to address through the county.
3 minutes, Jim.
3? All right.
I never knew you to speak for only 3 minutes. This is.
Let's wait for an even number.
Eric Beegler, Sound Park Heights Civic Association, Reeves Park area. We are located duly east of the 4-H camp. The 4-H camp had an event this weekend, both Saturday and Sunday. And you know, I'm a pretty in-tuned person, but I didn't know running through the mud and being chased by zombies was such a popular.
Apparently.
I'm telling you, there was 4,000 to 5,000 people on the 4-H camp property with cars and tents, and I was astounded by how many people were there. And it traveled all the way down to the beach area. I want to just say that with that many people, I have never seen an event in Riverhead with that many people there. I really do. I really mean it. And I have to say, and I'm glad Chief Hager-Miller is here, because his guys did an absolutely outstanding job in controlling traffic on Sound Avenue. Yes, it got backed up a little bit here and there, but that many people, they did an absolutely wonderful job. I have to mention that to you guys so you know that.
Thank Chief, thank the officers. I meant to say the same thing.
I was absolutely astounded by the EMS presence that were there. Not just, I mean, there was some Riverhead people there, but there were EMS squads from all across the county there supporting Riverhead so that we didn't have to take all the burden of what was going on there. And there were people taken away in exhaustion and dehydration and zombie bites and all sorts of crazy things.
Did you run?
And they didn't. What are you, nut? That was crazy. I have a hard enough time walking, let alone running. It was really an amazing thing to see all the EMS squads there. One of the things that I saw, which was really impressive, and I don't know where it was from, was there was an ATV EMS unit that was patrolling down by the beach area of the 4-H squad, the camp, so that they could pull off people and anybody injured, that they were right there, much like our ATV trikes are for the police department. And I thought that was really impressive. And it made me start to question, does the EMS have the ability to access down to those remote parts of the beaches?
Yeah, we're trying to talk to the chief to let them
I
use one of his ATVs.
The only thing, yeah, but George, I have to tell you, John, they're not the same ATVs.
Right, no, it's a
they're
different
not
setup.
flat. They don't carry a body if it's hurt. Right. Even the SUVs that the EMSs have can't make it down. They don't have the equipment. It even poses another question: does the fire department have the equipment to get down to that part of the beach? And the reason I'm asking this is because just prior to this event,
we had a fire call go out with a bonfire blazing on the beach by the wrecks. Those of you who don't know, the wrecks are due west of my community. The fire department responded with hook and ladder pumper, and they went right down Reeves, and what are they going to do? They're a quarter mile to a half a mile away from the fire in a pumper truck, and they're not getting down to the beach. They even sent the brush hog down, and the firemen said, we can't bring that brush hog on the beach, it'll get stuck. So they ended up loading some guys in the back of their private vehicles and drove down with hand sprayers, virtually water pistols, to put the fire out on the beach.
Well, they also, Eric, they also have the boat that they could launch, and they can pump the water from the boat up onto the beach. And I mean, that's a chief's call. It's not
But that's a, you know, just Sean, we're talking a long response time, and so now I go back, if they don't have the equipment, or if they do have the equipment, are they making that assertion to dispatch that equipment on the call, or is it too late?
You have to ask the chiefs. They have a regularly scheduled open meeting. You would, the commissioners do.
Do
You
they?
have to ask- Yeah.
Well,
the commissioners.
maybe a
Dave,
little late,
do you
but-
know when, I mean, they have a regular, I don't think anybody ever shows up.
Fire commissioners, I think it's this coming Wednesday. Fire commissioners meeting is this coming Wednesday.
Could you find out for me, maybe just let me know? Well.
I just got something from Chief Luparella.
The other thing you could find out for me, and here it brings up another point, Sandy, and this is my last point, and it all ties into each other. Sandy caused a lot of damage, a lot of stuff fell down, a lot of stuff floated in the water. There's a cove down by the wrecks west of our community that holds a tremendous amount of water and got all pushed up into the lower lands. We're probably right behind the Talmadge property, behind the 4-H, and maybe into Suffolk County's property, because I think they own some property there. A lot of this driftwood and processed lumber and trash and reeds and weeds got dumped into this area very high up, a lot higher up than it normally is. We've had very little rain this spring. The stuff is drying out. It is a real potential hot spot. If it catches, there's a lot of fuel there. It's about 100 feet wide, 75 feet deep, and about 3 to 4 feet deep before you hit the beach again. And this stuff's all just piled up there. I don't know if we can address it with the fire department. They need to look at it. Prevention, we certainly don't want something like Manorville to happen on the North Shore Beach there. And if it's a westerly wind, my community would be directly affected. If it was a nor'easterly wind, it would go up into the golf course. And
I'll call Chief White tomorrow.
I also sent an email to Craig Zidek to make him aware of it.
So they may want to just go down there. I don't know what they could do to rectify the situation or do something with it.
Did you email Craig about this particular?
Yes, and Chief and Drew Dillingham.
All right, so we're on top of it.
Okay.
I spoke to Gino about it.
Great, thanks. Appreciate it. That's
All right,
it. Thank you.
Thank you.
And a motion to adjourn?
That was 4.5
Make a
minutes.
motion to adjourn town
All
board
in
meeting.
favor? Aye. Is this the longest one? This might.
It's gotta be.
It's good that it wasn't. It's good that it wasn't at 7 o'clock meeting. Yeah, thank goodness. Right.
Fun.